That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Different time, but we're committing the same crime. Welcome into an evening edition of the Always Irish call-in radio show. Thanks for being here, folks. This is a little different. I got to admit, it's a different feel. I don't know how many people we're going to have today. I don't know if I'm throwing off people's routines. They're used to me in the morning when everybody's half asleep. We're coming alive in the evening. All right. So here's the deal. First off, thanks for being here. Those of you that it works out for. This show's usually a morning show, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time. Okay. Chicago guy, 9 to 11 a.m. It's the off season. We're trying new things. Okay. So I have stuff to do in the morning, sometimes in the off season now. And so we're trying some different times. And we're going to see what works. The evening, I've noticed, I realize this is a Monday, not a Friday. The Friday live shows, they get live. When I say live, I mean, I think people are drinking the whole time and they call me. Like when we go live Friday, people are in a mood. In the mornings, things are usually level and chilled out. Okay. We're a little softer in the mornings. So I expect things to be more lively no matter how many people are here. Thanks for being here. Hope everybody had a good Easter. Look at this. We got a phone call already. 618. You're doing great. You're going to be coming up first. If you're new here, I'm open to the idea that there's a segment of people that love Notre Dame, but they're not available when I do morning shows or whatever, and they're just finding this now. Here's the deal. 312-900-8815. Call John and tell me all you've heard and seen about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish squad. Hope everybody had a good Easter. I hope everybody enjoyed the Masters. Listen, I enjoyed the Masters on the last day because it was the only day I got to actually see people play golf. It was nice to see. I know this is a football channel. I couldn't help myself Saturday afternoon, but to put out a short saying it's the biggest most recognizable golf tournament in the world. I haven't even seen the leaders play yet. And we're going on day 4. Congratulations to John Rahm, the Spaniard, doing Sevi in spirit there as a fellow Spaniard. Good for him. Good Masters finish for him. Hope everybody had a good Easter. Here's the deal. 2 topics today. Then we'll get into the introductions. I'll get into all these chats, and then we'll get to the calls. So here's what we're going to do today. All right. Friday in the morning show, I was going to do a best case, worst case, and go through my roadmap of how we get there on the high side and the bad side, good and bad. What does that look like? We never really got there. Just because we got busy and then I got distracted with other calls and chats. And we never really got that far down the list. So I hope I'm going to get into that first so I can knock that out. We'll do a phone call and then we'll just see how long we go depending on if there's anybody here or anybody calling or me. Just listen. I got no problem talking to myself. I do that half the times in my mind anyways. So I want to know your best case, worst case outcomes for 23. Don't just give me a record. That's boring. I don't want you to just give me a record and say, oh, whatever. I want to know how we get there. What does it have to look like? That's what I want to know. Like for us to get on the good end of your record spectrum, what has to go right? And if we fall down to the dark end, what has to go sideways on us for us to get there? So that's kind of where I want to go today and what I'm wondering. Although it's the off season. The phone line's open for anything Notre Dame college football related. I don't care. Give me a call and we'll cover it all. Thank you for being here. YouTube, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on, and you and I both know why. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can get me. Call in line 312-900-8815. Fighting Irish Wire. Tune in every day. Read about Notre Dame. I submitted a couple articles today. as drafts. One of them involves Knute Rockne and connecting Knute Rockne's legacy to Notre Dame's 2023 schedule. I think you guys will appreciate some of the overlap and the historical significance there. I think Rockne would approve of the scheduling model Notre Dame currently has. The only issue is the current modern iteration of Notre Dame doesn't win at the same clip as Knute Rockne's guys did with the schedule. Stay tuned for that. So, all right, let's get to the chats. Let's see who we got and what they say. T-Rex, always good to have a dinosaur in the mix. Offense will undoubtedly progress. Defense will be the same. Special teams will regress. Outcome will be what it should have been last year, 10-2. It's funny you bring up the 10-2. 618, hang with me. When I get through these initial chats, I'm coming right to you first, 618. Phone lines are open, folks. So, 10-2, I was thinking about this when I was actually writing one of the articles I just referenced a minute ago. And what I was thinking about is, think of how differently this offseason and everything about it would feel if Notre Dame just went 10-2 last year, did what they were going to do, and you could have looked like crap against Marshall. You could have looked like crap against Stanford. They could have been those classic Brian Kelly ugly games where you want to stab an ice pick in your face and you're mad the whole day and you're like the wife and the kids and everybody wants to go do stuff. It's a beautiful fall day in September, but no, you got to watch Notre Dame struggle against Ball State and Toledo, right? But if you just play a crappy game and you end up winning by a field goal, I complain about it for a week, then we all move on and it's a win. If Notre Dame could have just accomplished that and just gotten to that baseline 10-2, we could get into the 2 like at that point. I then we'll get into the Ohio State complaints. And if you've been around my radio show at all, you know how I feel about that USC loss. And it wasn't just that you lost the game, but it was how a lot of it went and the stakes and the circumstances and the disrespect that Caleb Williams showed Notre Dame. And we just couldn't get the guy on the ground. I know the refs didn't call any holding, but still there were a million plays to be made that they made and we didn't. So even if it just went that way, where we hate the Marshall game, we hate the Stanford game, but we find a way to win them, then you're 10-2. All the frameworks different entering this year. There isn't as many questions about where this is all headed. That's all you had to do. You didn't even have to be impressive. You just couldn't lose those 2. And then in regards to what it should have been last year, 2023, ending up 10-2, that's interesting to me as well, because when I look at my best case, worst case scenarios for Notre Dame football this year, when I'm looking at 11-1 on the high end, give them 1 loss and one of the big 3, take care of everybody else. Let's say on the high end, you're looking at that. 574, I got you too. That's a South Bend call if I've ever seen one on the caller ID. Hang in there. 618-574. First 2 up. What I'm saying is, if you look at 11-1 at the high end, they lose one of the big 3, beat everybody else. And then you look at what I perceive the low end to be based on the talent and just what I know about the roster and our schedule. The low end, unless 80 guys break their legs, is probably 8-4 again. Probably on the low end. Ain't nobody here for that. I know I'm not. After last year, I love Marcus. You all know I love Marcus. You got your 1 year. You got your 1 year of Kelly roster. Everything's changing. You're the new guy learning on the job and all that. All of that flexibility, all of that understanding, all of that. We understand you have a lot to deal with and that you have to adjust to. We get it. That's all over. That was year 1. It's all over. I'm the biggest Marcus guy there was. I challenge anyone in Notre Dame media, anybody. I challenge anybody in Notre Dame media to say they beat me to the punch saying Marcus Freeman is going to be the next head coach. Nobody did. Nobody did. 1 month on the job as DC, and I put out a show saying this guy's the future, and I can already tell because of what he's doing in the recruiting office and the information I had about his recruiting effort, and they couldn't even keep up with his paperwork in that office the first month. Not as the head coach, as clown shows DC. The next day, I did an episode and said, to hell with Kelly. Maybe this guy should be the guy. He actually wants to work. He actually wants to recruit. I was the first guy on all that. That all being said, that was year one. You don't have that flexibility. Even for me, the biggest Freeman guy in the world, you don't have that flexibility. You can't drop games like Marshall and Stanford. Every one of these games means too much. This is the shortest regular season in major sports. That means every one of those games is worth their weight in gold. And when you got 3 top 10 or better teams on the schedule with the brand names and the quality players and coaches those big 3 have, bro, you can't afford any missteps against anybody you have more talent than. None. 0. You can't. You just can't afford it. You can't afford it. And so it doesn't matter how much I love Marcus or not, you can't do it. But my point with all this is, if I'm looking at 11-1 on that high end, I'm looking at 8-4 on the low end. T-Rex came up with 10-2, what it should have been last year. I wouldn't be surprised if that's right where it falls this year. To me, it feels like with decent health, that's your ballpark. Here's my question. With decent health, I feel like that's your ballpark, 10-2. Give or take a game. But think about the leeway there. When I say I'm feeling 10 or 2-ish, give or take a game, think of the difference of the feel of 9-3 versus 11-1. So, like, it's kind of a cop-out to me, for me to say, I kind of feel like maybe right in the middle is that sweet spot. But if I give it or take one game, 11-1 feels a hell of a lot different than 9-3. So I don't know, but that 10-2 range is about where I'm feeling. I don't know about that 8.5 number. That 8.5 number that was coming out from FanDuel and all these places out west in Vegas, 8.5 seems like what I would have put the line at before they got Hartman. If I thought I was coming back with a Buckner healthy, but I still have no idea if he's good or not, and Pine auditioning for the Wizard of Oz, the Lollipop Guild over there. I'm aging myself that I know that movie, but like you'll know what I mean. If that's what I'm looking at, 8.5 wins over under makes sense. But when you get Hartman in there, he doesn't have to win a high. Listen, he does not have to win a Heisman to change all this. All you got to do is have a guy that can make reasonable throws for once. Perhaps even see over the line of scrimmage to throw the ball, not get it batted down. Like basic quarterback stuff you see all over the country on any given Saturday, we have not had. If we could just have that, things would look a lot better. How about be able to like throw the ball down the field a little bit? Oh, I know. Crazy, John. Whoa, crazy. Where'd you come up with that newfangled idea to be able to have a passing game? Seriously, can we get into this millennium, please, with the offense? Let's go. I was thinking about this earlier today. The running backs, Notre Dame's running back room, all that talent, all the diversification, overlapping skill set, but also diversified. You could play a million different games with the running backs. You could do so many unique, cool things with those running backs. Imagine if you have a passing game to match. Just imagine, if you will, Notre Dame fans, think about a world where an opposing defense can't just stack the box on you and try and stop the run because they're not afraid of you at all throwing on them. Imagine, if you will, a world where a defense had to play Notre Dame straight up. When is the last time a defense had to play Notre Dame straight up and actually worry if we creep our safeties up here to crush on the run? Are they going to burn us deep? If we bring this blitz, are they going to nail a pass right in the area where that guy came from? Haven't had to worry about that. Teams have not had to worry about Notre Dame's passing game. Think about the flexibility 2023 Notre Dame should have offensively. And again, whenever I say this, I always hear people be like, you're talking like Hartman's a Heisman guy, blah, blah. What part of he does not have to be that for this offense to be way, way better? Are you not getting? This guy does not have to be the best quarterback in the country for Notre Dame's offense to get way, way better. He doesn't. Any reasonable passing game at all surpasses anything we've seen the last handful of years. It just does. And I'm not happy to report that. I had the scars to show it. He don't have to get the Heisman. He don't have to be close to that. Stay healthy, be able to distribute the ball. He's a sixth-year guy. Seen it all, been around it all. Like, nothing should faze him. That's where we're at. So the sky's the limit to me, but we'll see how it goes. 618-574. You're coming right up. Cousin Luke, you're the resident troll, but I'm glad to have you. You're loyal. Every time I have a show, Cousin Luke's here with negativity, but at least he's here. At least he's here. Look at this. Look at this. Hartman is I can't even. Jesus, help. Lord, help me. I know you just I know you resurrected yesterday. I need your guidance. Help me with Cousin Luke. Hartman is the same as Drew Pine and won't be the starter by the end of the season. Hartman's the same as Drew Pine. He's double Drew Pine. Forget any throws or anything. Hartman's the same as Drew Pine. He's instantly two a Drew Pine. You can stack two Drew Pines to equal one Hartman. What do you mean? Lord, give me the strength. Help me. This is getting off the rails. The same as Drew Pine, Cousin Luke, you exist for me to have a stroke on the air. That's what you do. I wish you would admit it. Come to the tailgate party I'm having for Blue and Gold and say, John, I'm Cousin Luke, and I like you, but I exist to get you worked up. Just come tell me that, Luke. I'll give you a free beer. Unbelievable. If Hartman isn't the starter by the end of the season, it's because his legs are broken or something, right? Like, I don't even care if he struggles all spring or something. Hartman's going to be the starter if he's healthy. Oh, my gosh, that's brutal. Mark with glasses, glad to have you here. I mean, it's a lot of detail that I know you have glasses, but whatever you want to share, you could share. Notifications on every time. That's a good catch. That's how I know you're a regular every time. Don't ask me where I come up with all those noises. It just happens. It just happens. T-Rex, good to see you here. Let's see. What does T-Rex have? At the end, as what, 11-2 into the 2024 expanded playoff. Here's the other side of this, you guys. The reason this year 2 is so critical for Freeman, the timing on everything is all coming together, right? You all know, if you're here, you love Notre Dame football, you probably are well aware of the history of a lot of Notre Dame's coaches in year 3. A lot of the guys that end up making it at Notre Dame, meaning winning things that matter, winning bowl games that matter, the guys that do that at Notre Dame, year 3 tends to be a big year. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's like 1 year to feel out the mess you inherited, year 2 to shuffle the deck and recalibrate, and then year 3, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's get to business. Like, that's how it feels to me when I look at that Notre Dame history that suggests year 3 is a big year. That's what it feels like to me. Year 1, you're in a mess and you're trying to figure it out and just find level footing. Year 2 is a calibration year to make some more big scale changes. And then year 3 is where the expectations really kick in and it all comes together. So all of that same philosophy applies to Freeman, but with an extra kicker. And the extra kicker is the 12-team playoff is year 3. And I'm not going to lie, Notre Dame should be in it every single year. 10-2 or better every year, I think, gets Notre Dame in this playoff. And there's no reason under Freeman and with the talent Notre Dame has to go under 10-2 any year from now on. Now, some of you, Uncle Luke, are going to say, you know, John, I mean, give me a break. Like, what are we going to do? You know, what Freeman isn't going to get over the hump and like all this stuff and whatever. 10-2. Think of the flexibility in the new playoff Notre Dame has we've never had before. I currently exist in a world where I feel like if Notre Dame loses one game, our hopes are over. As soon as Notre Dame makes the playoff with one loss, I'll believe it's possible for Notre Dame to make the playoff with one loss. But until they do, it looks to me like you got to go 12-0. That's all going to change. Imagine the flexibility Notre Dame's now going to have being able to lose their marquee number 1 and 2 game maybe and still be in the tournament. That's a lot of flexibility, you guys. Right now, I feel all these Power 5 teams, oh, you lose a game here, you lose a game there. It's okay because you're in a conference and you could end up making up the games and end up in a fine spot and all that. We do not have that flexibility by choice. I'm not complaining. We choose to not have that flexibility by being independent. And I support that as long as the money's right. As long as the money allows us to compete, I support that. But you got a lot of flexibility. You can lose your couple games, lose your biggest two games, be in the playoff every year. It's wild. So Freeman, this is a big calibration year because what's important to me is, and maybe this shouldn't be important, but it is. 618, I got you. I know, I get off, I start talking, I get off the map. I'm sorry. I got you, 618-574. Don't hang up. I'm coming to you. I promise. I wouldn't lie. Here's what I'm going to say. You got to be in it to win it. If you're not in it, you can't win it. 10-2 or better, Notre Dame, you should be in this tournament every single year. Every year, getting bowl playoff game experience, hosting these home games, you got to be there every year. I'm sorry. This flexibility is unbelievable that we never had before. Now, you could say to me, and I've seen this argument, when I say you got to be in it to win it, Notre Dame will have this flexibility. Maybe you could lose a couple games and still make it. What I hear is, okay, John, what are the odds that a Notre Dame team that loses their biggest 2 regular season games is going to go into the playoff and magically beat those teams of that ilk and be good? Well, I don't know what the odds are, but they're better than 0. If you don't make the tournament, the odds of winning a playoff game are 0. So give me a break. Like I've heard that argument. Oh, John, how could a 10-2 Notre Dame team, you think they're going to do anything in the playoff? You don't know what all these things look like. You don't know what these games look like. Maybe Notre Dame plays a great game down to the wire and loses on a field goal, but we say, what a great game. Notre Dame played great, just came up short. That's a team that can compete in the playoff. So, I don't know. I mean, give me a break here. If you're being that negative, you got to be in it to win it. Notre Dame should be in the mix all the damn time. What did I just hit? I just X'd out of something I shouldn't have. I don't know what that is. Luke Collins, good to see you here. V1 rotate V2, finally not working. Time to relax and listen to John's calming voice. What? Are you drinking V1 rotate V2? Finally not working. Time to relax and listen to John's calming voice. Said nobody ever, including me, said no one ever in the existence of life, ever. Angela, God bless her heart, sitting at the kids' wrestling practice listening. Angela, I'll see you in a couple weeks. She's coming to the Always Irish Blue and Gold tailgate party, and I expect you all to be there. I do. Eric, good to see you. Craig, Roy boy, look it up. I swear to God, I think Cousin Luke has a deal with all the local cardiologists in the area, and he gets a royalty fee every time he makes my blood pressure tick. 7-5. If Notre Dame goes 7-5, this show is going to be ugly. It's going to be rough. If Notre Dame goes 7-5, for one, I think that means half the team's legs are broken. Like, seriously, the only way this team goes 7-5 is if 80 guys are dead. There's no chance. You're just saying it to get me going. Craig, look at Craig. Tell us how you feel about the pitch clock. Let's go, baby. Move it along. Let's go. But if I had a choice, Craig, between the pitch clock and the robo strike zone, I'm picking the robo zone. I am sick of these guys umpiring in the biggest level of the game, making so many game-changing mistakes that aren't even close. The technology exists. Put a grid back there, green for a strike, red for a ball, perfect every time, fair for everybody. Oh, what about the tradition of the human element? That was before technology. Now I don't need a guy with the big beer belly back there making a bunch of mistakes. The technology exists to eliminate it, okay? I am sick of those umpires changing games by being bad at their job. I'm not talking a borderline pitch. I'm talking pitches that aren't even close. Give me the robo zone. As far as the pitch clock, I love baseball, so I'm not the fan they're appealing to. I'm going to watch the White Sox and be miserable no matter what. I'm going to watch them and hate my life 162 days because it's what I do. I honestly like the 3 hours. It gives me 3 hours to kill in the summer. It's different than football. It's a different kind of anxiety. Oh, boy. Wait a second. Anybody ever notice John has all the answers but none of the solutions? What's the difference between an answer and a solution? Are you messing with me? Are you trying to get existential? My answers are the solutions. Man, rough crowd. Rough crowd. Look at this. $20 holler. 618, you're coming up. I got multiple 574s. Now I got to get to the calls. $20 holler. Hartman balls out this season. However, he'll have one off game and the defense won't do well enough to keep Notre Dame in the game 11-1. Eric, that sounds so down to earth and realistic. It really does. Like one of those games where everything goes wrong, everything's going against you, the other team's all pumped up. It's the Super Bowl because they're playing Notre Dame. So everybody gets, I could see that. I could see that. Cousin Luke, ND should have been 6-6 last year. Let me ask you this, Luke. Do you give him any credit for not going 6-6? Like, I genuinely mean that. You're saying they should have been 6-6, and I'm asking, do you give them any credit for not folding? They could have folded before Clemson and all that, and it could have scaled right into 6-6. Do you give Freeman and company any credit for holding it together? Just asking. Oh, boy. Yeah, look at this. John misses BK. Yeah, how'd you know? Yeah, good call. You know, Adam. It says Rocco's transferring to the D-line. Well, what I don't know what that says about the D-line depth. Like, it's already my number one concern. Now you're moving guys over there. That's one step removed from moving a wide receiver to safety. Whatever. Do what you got to do. They need bodies. 10-2, maybe 11-1. I mean, that's right in the ballpark. Freeman better not be another Weiss. Number one is you lose credit for misspelling Weiss. So that's number one. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you're not allowed to have a tough take and not be able to spell the name. So I love you being here, RR, but you're losing credit for misspelling Weiss. That's number one. And I'm going to give you the reason number two that Freeman will never be Weiss. Number one is he recruits way, way more robustly and well-roundedly than Weiss ever could dream of. So by that alone, it's going to insulate him from having that kind of situation. So that's number one. He'll never be Weiss because he recruits way more efficiently than Weiss ever did, and actually pays attention to defense and stuff like that. So he'll never be another Weiss for that. Here's another reason he'll never be another Weiss. Marcus is too humble to be another Weiss. Marcus doesn't think and know that he has all the answers and doesn't need anybody's help and doesn't need a look at anything else. Like Weiss went in there with the decided schematic advantage and ended up sucking. He got an extension off a loss. Like that's where we were operating from. Charlie Weiss got an extension for almost beating USC in 05. That's what we're dealing with here. That's how low the bar was. He got an extension for almost beating a good USC team. Total joke. Total joke. But Marcus is way too humble to go down the Weiss path, and he's a way better recruiter. Doesn't even enter my mind. That's crazy. Crazy. If you're going to talk this nonsense, dress like a clown for your show, John, I don't think anything I said was outrageous or outlandish at all in any way. Put it in the chat and tell me what it is. What did I say that's crazy to you? Let me know. I don't understand what people expect. When people tell me I'm way too much of a Freeman homer, you're way too much of a Freeman homer, John. You're all clouded by your love of Marcus Freeman. All I talk about is what needs to get better next year and the high expectations. And the part of the teams the part of the team that let us down last year has to be better. I don't know what else you want me to say. I don't. If you want me to say after year one, Marcus doesn't have it, get this guy out of here, that's ridiculous. That's totally unreasonable, 100%. And I get those messages all the time. It's like, 1 year? 1 year's not enough to know anything really good or bad. You know, there's a flip side to that too. How many guys do you see inherit a program, do good the first year off the momentum and the recruiting and the vibe and the culture the old guy had? Sometimes that first year ends up being good and then it goes down. Because the first year of a new guy, they're benefiting from the culture and the recruiting and everything of the last guy. And if it was good, you could ride that for a while. Then you got to do your own thing. And you know what they say. A program takes on the personality of the head coach after a while. You've seen that before, where a guy gets that first year and it all goes good and then it goes down. So I don't know. I've seen it work both ways. Oh, man. John, you're begging for Clark Lee to be the coach just like the rest of us. Way back in the day when he was running the defense still here and Kelly was around, I do remember talking about that, saying at least if you had Clark Lee, you'd have a lockdown defense and you would have that and you wouldn't have a jerk as your head coach. You would also have that. Anybody find any value in not having it? I was just going to say something really bad. Anybody else find any value in not having a jerk as the head coach? Matters to me. And that would have been Lee. Eric, technical technician, what's up from Croatia? It's vacation time. Technician, don't waste your vacation talking to me. Go to a bar, go to the beach. You don't have to deal with me on your vacation. Ryan Day, biggest underachieving coach ever. Guys 1-0 at OSU. They're cranking up the heat on them. You start a winning streak against Michigan. If you are Ryan Day and you start a losing streak against Michigan, they're going to ride you out of town fast. He'll be looking for an NFL job pretty soon. He'll be looking for an NFL job. They run him off. Run them off. Who else? Here we go. V1. Thanks a lot, man. $5.99. $5 holler. Why is the only number I have memorized the Always Irish show? It's because of the jingle, man. 312-988-15. Tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. 618. Let's go. It's a Monday. What up, man?
How you doing, John, man?
I'm doing very well.
I called in the other night. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I got you. What up?
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't call in the other day when you were talking about what the records would be this year. Like I've been saying, 11-1, man. 11-1. Possibly 12-0, but 11-1.
All right. If you're going to if you're going to go 11, if you're going 11-1, where's the one? Is it one of the big three? And if it is, who is it?
SC.
Oh, that kills me. That hurts me so much, man. You're hurting me.
It hurts me too. It hurts me too, John. But it's definitely SC, man. I mean, I just think they returned a lot of firepower. They got probably the better quarterback, probably the best quarterback in the country. So, quarterback matters. These days and ages,
now,
man.
Do you feel better about that matchup with it being at home, at least? Do you think that gives us a better shot?
Yeah, it gives us a better shot, but I still think that, man, at the end of the day, I think he's better than Hartman, and man, I think Caleb Williams could be just a little bit too much for Notre Dame, man.
So
people keep talking about?
Let me ask you.
I'm letting all the Ohio State people know in the group, man. We're not losing Ohio State. Ohio State is soft. We're not losing Ohio State.
We're
not losing Ohio State, and we're not losing the soft Clemson.
I hope you're right. I mean, with Ohio State, it's going to set the tone for the whole year because of where it is in the schedule. It's the first of the big three. That's going to set the tone for everything, man.
And remember last year, man, we went into the Ohio State, the first game of the season. That Ohio State team had been together. This team, we was already coming into the season with questions. I felt like when they ranked them at number 5, that was a little bit too high. I was like, man, I don't think we ranked number 5, but we'll see. I thought it was a little bit overrated when they ranked them at number 5, but this year, trust me, man, we're definitely not losing to Ohio State. Everybody keep talking about Ohio State. Man, we don't even know what they got at quarterback right now. So
yeah. No. All right. Now let me ask you this though. Big picture. 574. I got you next. Let me ask you this big picture. Big picture. Would it concern you if they lost to USC again and then our new coach starts out 0-2 in our biggest hated rivalry game? No. That doesn't worry you?
No, because I don't think
it bothers me. 3 or 4 years. It bothers me, man. I love Freeman, but I can't have you go 0-2 against USC.
If we lose the SC this year, we probably won't lose the SC for a while after this year.
Man,
it'll be a long time before we lose the SC again.
Man, you better hope so. And the other thing is, Lincoln Riley's trying to get defensive. I've noticed he's made an effort to try and boost that defense, and I was hoping he'd forget all about it and just keep trying to score a bunch of points and not worry about that. But I do see that he's trying to tighten up that defense. And I ain't going to lie, man. Hey, they pushed us around last year, boy. They pushed us around on both sides of the ball. It offends me to this day. We got pushed around in L.A.
Yeah, I don't think we lose. I mean, it's going to be a close game, man, and it all depends. I'm going to put it like this. The SC game going to come down to whoever had the ball last.
Oh, man. That'd be wild. I don't even want it to be that close. I don't want it to be that close, but I don't know, man. So
I just think that they just so dynamic on offense, man.
All right.
Yeah, they did push us around last year, but man, we had to.
If you're looking at 11-1, that means our defense, all the new faces and all the new guys that have to step up. If you're going 11-1, wherever the one comes from, That means that they hit and they have a really good year. You're telling me you're confident our defensive front's going to be able to hold up against the run and do all the stuff I need them to do? Are you confident in that? Because I'm nervous about it.
First of all, when do Ryan Day run the ball?
Yeah.
When does he run the ball? Everybody keeps talking about these dynamic running backs they got, but when does he run the ball? He's a quarterback first coach.
Do you think, well, now wait, here's another good question about the Ohio State game. I've been thinking about this a lot 6 months ahead of time. They're going to have it's going to be, the dynamics going to be flipped. You and I have talked about this. The dynamics flip. They come to our place. They're going to have the young quarterback. We're going to have the experienced guy. What are the odds Ryan Day says, I'm going to ease my young guy in this hostile environment by trying to run the ball? And if we could do that on Notre Dame, everything else opens up. Or does Ryan Day go
that? I don't think that happens.
Does he say, the hell with this? I got all this receiver talent. I don't care if I got a young guy or not. We're throwing the ball in South Bend all night.
And that's exactly what's going to make them lose the game.
Interesting.
They're not beating Notre Dame. They're soft. Man, their defense is soft. We got to look at what Utah did in the Rose Bowl the year before, what Michigan did over the last 2 years. And we got to take advantage and take it to. Man, we had soft Tommy Rees. Man, I'm so happy he's in Alabama. Let him be in Alabama for the rest of his career. But, man, we had Tommy Rees, which is a totally different. And then we didn't show that we could run the ball against Ohio State last year either. It was well after the Ohio State game that we showed that we could run the ball. When we brought it all together against Clemson, that team that beat Clemson would have blew Ohio State out last year.
Yeah, it is why I still can't believe all the trouble we had last year, that performance they put together against Clemson. I know Clemson was begging for a loss. Like, I'm not acting like they had it all going on. They were leaking oil, begging for a loss. I didn't think we'd give it to them that hard. And it was good to see. I don't know, man. 11-1 sounds good to me. 11-1's beautiful. It helps with recruiting.
And
you're in the playoff right there. Like, man, I love it. I just
hope. We're on the cusp of the playoffs. We're on the cusp of the playoffs, but you know, man, they're always going to go with at least. I mean, even if we beat Ohio State and we're the only loss, they probably could jump Ohio State over into the playoffs because they'll probably take either 2 SEC teams or they'll probably take 2 Big Ten teams because they think that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So, you know, Notre Dame almost got to go undefeated. You know what I'm saying? And this,
last year of that.
That's
the thing, man, buddy. It's the last year of that. After this year, you don't have to be undefeated anymore. I used to
don't have to worry about that anymore.
Bro. I used to feel like we lose one game and the air comes out of the balloon and I'm like, dude, the season's over. Like once you get one loss, you're Notre Dame. I used to feel like we're dead here. Now it's damage control rather than winning stuff. And the flexibility we're going to have is amazing.
If we finish up 11-1 and let's just say a SC team, a USC team go undefeated, we'd probably be in the playoffs. Probably SC, I'd probably go SC, Michigan, Georgia, and Notre Dame. I don't think Bama will get in. I think, man, that ship has sailed. I don't care how great you recruit. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, man. You don't have any worry that I do that the offense gets a lot better, but the defense takes a step back, and then we're stuck pretty much where we were, but for different reasons.
Man, with Al Washington now starting to show that he can coach this defensive line, but I think, man, this might be a special year for the defense. And we already got the defensive backfield, man. It's just a matter of who plays safety.
But wait, but how convinced are you Cross and Mills and Rubio and Anye and whoever else up there is going to be able to hold up? I just don't feel like I've seen enough that I could go into our first big game at Ohio State and say, I feel confident we're going to be able to hold up there. I got to kind of see it to believe it.
John,
is that not fair? Is that not fair?
That's where the first 4 games. See, last year when Ohio State called us, they called us at the beginning of the season. We didn't have no games before the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Now we get to ease into the Ohio State game. And even though Ohio State have game 2 to get that quarterback ready, I just don't think coming into game number 4 with a first-year starter that he's going to be ready. He's not going to be ready for that, especially if the Notre Dame fans do not sell a ticket to the Ohio State people.
Yeah.
Man, he's not going to be ready for that type of environment.
I hope you're right.
Get out there, man. We need to get out there as Notre Dame fans. We need to start getting our tickets now. We need to go to that game, and they need to see a sea of green.
Yep. And you got to be loud. They're going to have a young quarterback get in his head, make it loud. I love all. I love it all.
I don't care if the Ohio State fans offer you all the money in China. Do not give up them tickets.
Yeah.
To the Ohio State fans.
Yep. Hey, I'm with you, man. I like where you're going here. Some of this, man, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's just unknown neutrals. And something I don't know about, it can't be a positive. I can't just assume it's going to be good. That defense to me is an unknown neutral, and I'm questioning it until I see it be good enough against Ohio State.
Well, John, I look at it like this, John. You got 4 games to get ready for Ohio State.
Yeah, but none of those 4 games are going to offer you the challenge Ohio State offers you. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to feel better about the defense, what they do against Tennessee State. Do it against Ohio State. Shut them down at our place.
But it gives you the opportunity to build the confidence into your team. Not just go in there and be completely blind at the first game of the season, and then they turn around and you up 10-0 at halftime, and then you turn around and give up 21 points in the second half. First of all, C.J. Stroud is gone. We don't have to worry about that this year. And yes, they have the receiver talent, and that's the reason why I think that everybody who always think they could beat they beat Notre Dame with speed. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, you're right about that. The speed and athleticism in the program is increasing rapidly. You know what's a wild exercise? When I look at like the 2012 team and all they almost accomplished, the team now is 100% more athletic all over the field than that team. It just was. Just faster, more athletic. Like it's all changing. But I agree with you. We got to show up, and here's the thing, man. Notre Dame needs to realize you can't lose a game before Ohio State. That's going to ruin everything we just talked about. Our entire discussion, everything you and I just talked about is ruined if Notre Dame loses anywhere before Ohio State. That's what's going to make those tickets. That's what's going to make those tickets flow into Columbus. If Notre Dame drops one of these games, can't happen. You got to go in there undefeated. You have to have it.
The one game that scares me is the North Carolina State game.
Yeah.
Going on the road to North Carolina State.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It scares me before the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
The rest of the games, I think we win. That game is, it scares me because depending on how good North Carolina State is at that time.
Yeah.
Do you look past North Carolina State?
Right.
Or do you say, hey, man, we're going in here as business as usual. We're trying to get it done, man. Marcus Freeman's going to have to, man, he got to walk into Ohio State 4-0.
Yep.
Got to walk in there focused. And the defense got to step up. The defensive line and the linebackers, which I think they will, because I think they'll come in with enough confidence to say, we can shut down Ohio State. They don't have the offense they had last year. Remember, man, last year probably, besides the Michigan game, not even the Michigan game, I think Notre Dame probably played the best defensive game against Ohio State all season.
That's a very good point. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And they would say, well, it was early and all that. What it is. Yeah, you're right. I don't know, man. And NC State.
Ohio State had all the firepower.
NC State. Tell me if you agree with this. In this unique circumstance, building the bridge from Dublin with Navy all the way to Ohio State, NC State's one of those games where I'm going to say right now, It don't have to have style points. You don't have to win it by 3 scores. I don't give a crap. Leave there with a win. I don't care if it's by 1 point. The ugliest game I've ever seen in the world. Notre Dame just has to scrape by that game with a win. The only thing that could kill this Ohio State game hype, if we lose before, I bet you half those tickets are going to Columbus. I'm telling you, people are fickle. Not Luke. People are fickle. So you can't lose. Build this up right, and it could be a magical night. Late September, not too hot, not too cold, not a cloud in the sky. Notre Dame beating Ohio State. It's beautiful.
If Ohio, I put it like this. Depending on how, I'm going to put it what the season will come down to. That Ohio State is probably, man, they need to play this like this is their Super Bowl. Even though I think this is like a down year for Ohio State, I don't care what the public say. They always put the big three ahead of everybody. They don't care if they have a team full of freshmen. They're going to put them 1, 2, or 3. So I think, John, that man, this is a down year for Ohio State. So if Notre Dame can catch them in a down year and beat them by 2, 3 touchdowns and beat them like they beat up on Clemson last year, I'm going to give the edge to Notre Dame over SC. And I think they just might go undefeated.
Man, you're getting wild, man. We were talking about just beating Ohio State. Now you're talking about putting a Clemson on them. I like where your mind's at, man. And it's just going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer. I don't want to wait. I want to see what we got. It's going to be a long, hot summer, man. I'm ready now.
This season for Ohio State is like last season for Clemson. You know,
yeah.
Even though Clemson had, they still had the freshman quarterback, but they still had, not so good quarterback, but they had the freshman behind it. You can't come into Notre Dame Stadium playing 2 or 3 games with a first-year starter, man. You got to show them that you cannot come in here and beat us with a first-year starter.
Yeah, well, no, think about what a horrible look that is. Think about what a horrible look that is if you really do let them come in there with a new first-time quarterback. It'll be his first big road game in this environment, and you can't get beat by that. You just can't. That's going to be a bad look. It is. It's going to be a bad look.
I don't care if Notre Dame win their first 4 games by 1 point. We're going into Ohio State, and we're going to beat Ohio State.
I like it.
We're going to go to Clemson, and we're going to beat Clemson. The game that scares me the most is the SC because of what they got coming back.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair, man. I don't know. I agree with you. I'm excited about all this, but Notre Dame's got to do the right things early in the season to make Ohio State into the big show night that it should turn into. We got to take care of business. Anything else as we wrap up, my friend? I'm glad you called me on the night shift.
Another thing, man, before I leave, man, we got to get the big recruits on campus for the Ohio State game. I mean, the SC game is cool, but you got to get them on for one of the big 3. Ohio State is one of the big 3 with Bama and Georgia, man. You got to get them on campus during the Ohio State game.
Yeah, and the other reason I like that too is the weather will be perfect. Like late September, the weather's always usually nice. Like I always get nervous when we pull a Southern guy up for a recruiting visit on senior day and it's 22 degrees and freezing rain. So I like that, but there's risk in that, man. When you have a blowout recruit weekend and you invite all the top guys to your game, that's risk. Because if you fall flat on your face, you invited 50 of these great guys there to watch you fall on your face at home. That's a give and a take. So if you're going to go that route, you got to deliver. Come out in them green jerseys, have the whole place going nuts. All of us go nuts. Win the game. Recruiting takes off. Then you're in it to win it, baby.
Yes, sir. And let's go Notre Dame, man. I still think they finish up 11-1 and possible 12-0, man. The closer it get, I'm thinking maybe 12-0. Man, I'm thinking maybe we beat SC, man. But But you got a lot coming back, John, man.
I know. I don't like
chatting
it.
with you.
I don't like it because if you gave me one we had to win, that'd be the one I'm picking, even over Ohio State. But I like where you're going. 11-1 would be it. 11-1 would be hard to complain about.
All right, John.
Hey, man, you have a good night. Thanks for calling me on the night shift. I appreciate it, man. You have a good one. He just hung up on me. Didn't even say goodbye. Here we go. 574. Sorry to make you wait. You're on the air. Local Notre Dame number, I see.
How's it going, man?
It's going very well. What's going on a Monday night? What's on your mind?
This is the Golden Playbook, by the way, again.
Beautiful. What's up, man? Thanks for getting in the mix here on a Monday night. What do you have for a score? A season prediction. Where do you think the odds are we're going to fall here? Oh, they dropped off, and we'll get him again. Maybe. What the heck? Do I got you?
Hello?
Yeah, I got you now. You're good.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's okay. I got you now. I'm interested in where you think the overall record might fall and what leads us there. What does your gut tell you on this?
My gut really tells me, man, that I think we beat Ohio State as well. Like, I really believe that we can do it, especially with Sam Hartman. And I think Ohio State's going to have a bad year, honestly, because, C.J. Stroud is not, he's gone now. So I think that, Ohio State's probably going to have a bad year, more than likely. Got a good look for them, especially if they had Michigan,
I mean, I was going to say, now you're looking at a scenario 2 years in a row where Ohio State's gotten beaten in really ugly ball games against Michigan, and that's a cardinal sin. And if you're ever going to get them, now's the time. They're coming to your place. They have the young, inexperienced quarterback. They're coming to your place for a night game in a big moment. All that momentum points in Notre Dame's favor. And I'm not going to lie, dude. It's a very weak look to let a first-time quarterback come in your house and shred you up. I'm not here for that. It can't be that.
Yes, and we have to be undefeated going in.
You have to be. No, you have to be. We can't
lose one. We can't lose two.
No.
Undefeated.
You can't. And here's why, man. If you lose one before Ohio State, that's how you get a sea of red in Notre Dame Stadium again. Just like Nebraska, just like Georgia, just like Cincinnati. That's how you get a sea of red in the stadium is we drop one of these games against teams we have way more talent than, and then all the cheap Notre Dame people want their money, sell out to Columbus. That is a nightmare. The additional nightmare is if you lose one going into Ohio State and then you lose that one, you're in the exact same crappy position we were in last year where you're not even halfway through the year and you have 2 losses. That's how you get to 8-4 again. And that's how John has a stroke on the air on the internet.
Yep. I think, especially what happened last year, with the Marshall game and then Stanford game, you got to do something.
Let me ask you this.
Lesser opponents.
You brought it up, so now I'm going to ask you. What do you think caused that? What do you think caused Notre Dame to lose 2 games at home against 2 teams they were 17.5-point favorites over and have way more talent than? What caused that last year? Why did we no show at home twice? I don't know the answer. I'm genuinely asking what you think.
I really think that we lost. You're talking about the Marshall game and the Stanford game, right?
Yep.
Okay. The real reason why I think we lost those games is because obviously the play calling, Tommy Rees, and as I think it was most of his play calling, and also I just don't really know what else was going on. Like, probably not well coached. There's probably a lot of reasons. I mean, I don't know, but I think Tommy Rees was probably the main problem behind those losses. His terrible play calling.
Well, if he's that bad, why did the best coach in college football want him? That's what I've been taking all winter. So if he's that bad, why did Saban want him? He's a boy genius, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree.
But wait, how can he be the boy genius and the reason we lost to Marshall and Stanford? Doesn't it have to be one or the other?
Yeah. I mean, I just felt like his play calling at times was a little bit, terrible.
Yeah. Now, all right. Now, wait. See, here's where this gets complicated, man. Because what if I said back, when you say that, what if I said back to you, hey, man, that's not really fair because the team last year had like 2 wide receivers that could walk and the rest of them were dead or their legs were broken or something, or nobody recruited anybody the year before. Like, what would you say if I said back to you, well, we didn't have any talent. What did you want Rees to do? Dial up a great passing game with a 5'2" quarterback and 2 wide receivers? What did you expect? What would you say to that?
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that Reese was terrible. I'm just saying that, like, at times,
stagnant.
Seemed like he
stagnant.
was
couldn't get any rhythm, right? Like stagnant, slow, boring, no rhythm. Like, that's what I felt a lot of the time.
Yeah, like, he was a good coordinator. Somewhat. I mean, I think he was pretty good. I mean, you got to start somewhere. But at the same time, his play calling at times was a little bit, lazy. He seems like he was trying to outsmart, like Marcus Freeman at times. Like he's basically telling everybody, "Oh, I know what I'm doing, but you don't know what you're doing." Or, I know what I'm doing.
Well, man, you know what bothers me with that? Here's what bothers me with that. What bothers me with that is they wanted to get Rees a quarterback coach so that Rees could sit there and look at the big picture of the offense and build out more of a structure and all that. And Freeman wanted to get a quarterback coach to free Rees up so that there would be somebody just working with the quarterbacks and Rees could step back and look at things more big picture. And Rees told Freeman, I don't need that. I'm the OC and the quarterback coach. And I just happen to think we might have benefited from having a guy who knows what he's doing, just working with those quarterbacks. But Rees said he didn't need it. And he told Freeman, I don't want that. I don't need that. And Freeman didn't do it. Was that a mistake?
No. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because Marcus Freeman wasn't as experienced. So Tommy Rees was there. He's been there since 2020, I think, right? Or before that?
Yeah, I think so. 1920, and then he got the OC job. Let me ask you this. Tell me if you agree with this or not. Maybe I'm wrong. I happen to think, given the talent increase at the 2 areas on the offense we were the furthest behind, which is the quarterback room and the wide receiver room last year, given the increases in talent there that we've seen, how much better do you expect this offense to be? I think it could be a lot better because you have a quarterback who could throw the ball around. Like, what are your expectations? I think they should be a lot better.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think that with Sam Hartman, obviously, we've seen what he did at Wake Forest. I think that we're definitely going to be way better this year. Are we going to be undefeated? It's kind of hard to say right now. I think we go at least 11-1 or 10-2.
Yeah. What's a bigger,
Good season.
this is an awful question and I have a hard time answering it. What's the biggest priority to you, beating USC or beating Ohio State in 2023?
I honestly think beating, I don't know, I feel like, because USC is our rival, so I have hate for, towards them.
Yeah, and that's healthy. There's listen, hey, wait, I'm glad you said that, man. I've been saying this for years on Twitter. The healthiest hate in the world is football hate. Football hate brings us all together. It does, and I mean it. Football hate brings people together because at the end of the day, we all just love football. I love football hate. Football hate is my love.
Yeah. I just don't you always love to hate, your rivals.
Oh, I love to hate everybody. That's a pastime of mine. But we got another 574. Hang in there. You're coming up next. Let me ask you this question while I got you. What's your biggest concern going into next year? It could be a team we play. It could be a part of our team you're worried about playing great ball week in, week out. What would your biggest Notre Dame concern be entering 2023?
I think my concern is that we either lose to USC again, which that's not good if we do, or I have a lot of concerns with, the defense.
It's my number one concern.
Could be pretty good. I mean, they could be pretty good this year.
There's just a lot of unknowns. But there's just a lot of unknowns. You lose 4 out of your 6 top tacklers on the D-line. You're losing over half your sacks. I'm not saying the defense is going to be bad. I am saying there's a lot of unknowns that have to be proven to me against Ohio State before I start to relax on this bullet point. I am not going to relax saying the defense is my concern until I see them handle Ohio State's offense. And if they do, I will say, we're on to something here. This is awesome. And if they don't, I'm going to come in here and say, told ya. So I'm not relaxing until I see what happens at Ohio State. Navy, whatever. Dublin, Ireland, whatever. Tennessee State, whatever. NC State, find a way to win it. CMU, I don't even know what that stands for. Ohio State's it. I am going to worry about the defense every single minute I'm awake until we beat that team.
Yeah, and that's my thing. And if we can't like stop Ohio State, then what? How are we going to stop like USC and like Clemson?
It's going to be a problem.
It's just like
it's going to be a problem. Getting ran on's my big concern. That is my number one concern is getting ran on. There is nothing more humiliating in the sport of football than getting ran on up the gut and you just can't stop it. There is nothing you could do. It is the ultimate insult. Even when teams want to run out the clock, you just run play right up there and you're gaining yards. Like us getting ran on up front is how this defense folds. That's where it starts. Getting ran on up front on early downs. I already am nervous about the linebackers. I have some safety worries. Holding up against the run is my number one priority no matter what. People could call me an old man. I don't care. Stop the damn run and you'll end up having fun.
Yeah. And I got a question. Do you think that we could beat Ohio State, or do you think that we're gonna be the same thing?
We certainly can beat Ohio State, but there's just certain things that I'm not going to get answers to in all the games leading up to Ohio State to give me an indicator of where we're at. It's a different animal when you're playing Ohio State. It's a different level of talent than CMU, NC State, anybody else we have before. It's a different animal. And certainly we could beat Ohio State. And if you were going to beat Ohio State, The circumstances could not be better for Notre Dame than this year because you got them at home. Your place is going to be the loud night game. They're going to have the new young quarterback going into a hostile environment. All of that momentum is in Notre Dame's favor. If you don't take advantage of it now, when the hell would you? Everything leans in Notre Dame's favor leading up to the game. In the opposite way it did last year, where it all favored them.
Yes. I think we beat them, personally. I honestly just feel like somebody is going to come to that game, or somebody, I don't know, like somebody like Manti Te'o or somebody. I have a feeling that somebody's going to be there, and that's going to be the reason why they win. But I think Sam Hartman's really going to – I just think that we could do it.
Yeah. No,
I think Ohio State
I definitely think we could do it. I definitely think we could do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Like, all the talk in the world doesn't matter. You have to get it done. Listen, Notre Dame's putting themselves out there a little bit. Notre Dame's extending themselves. Notre Dame's the ones promoting the green jerseys, making this a huge deal. Like, you're bringing all that attention. It is on you to get the job done. I need that defense to get after this young guy, and let's roll.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I have, the reason why I really think that we could definitely do it is because this quarterback, he hasn't really played, and I don't know how good he's going to be.
Yeah, get after him.
I just really feel like Ohio State I think they're going to have a terrible year, honestly, this year.
But what's terrible for Ohio
State?
State? Like, what's 10-2 is terrible to Ohio State. For me, like, if you say terrible, what does terrible mean record-wise? 10-2 is a terrible year for Ohio State. Michigan and then us, that's 10-2, right? There you go.
I mean, yeah, that's about right. Because then, if we beat them and then Michigan beats them again,
right,
that would be 10-2.
Yeah, like, I'm just playing that out.
Terrible, but that's not great.
And the other thing is, like, I don't know what's up with Ryan Day. You could send that guy. He might go to the NFL. And if they don't just internally promote Brian Hartline, who is a A+ 10 out of 10 recruiter, if they didn't promote him, they're going to call Freeman. So if he gets sick of it and leaves, they're going to want Freeman.
Yep, they're definitely going to want Freeman because Freeman, he's always said that's his dream job, like, because he played there.
Hey, I get it, man. That he's a hometown guy. That's where he played and grew up in Ohio. I understand it. So I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting, but all eyes are looking at that Ohio State game. Notre Dame just needs to make sure we're undefeated so that this game carries the magnitude we need it to carry. Anything else, my friend? Final thoughts for you.
I just want to say that I think Freeman will, I think that he'll, learn, because he finished games at Ohio State. I think as long as he does good at Notre Dame, I think that he's going to stay for at least, I would say 5 years at least. I mean, if he does good there, and doesn't.
I think it depends what happens.
As long as he doesn't do terrible.
I really think it depends what happens.
For a while.
I think it depends what happens. And I don't want Freeman to get the worst case scenario in all this is Freeman starts to get really good at this, but the administration in some way hamstrings him where he does not feel he has the freedom to recruit and do the things he needs to do to succeed. And then he ends up looking for an exit. Like, that's the worst case scenario. It just is, to me.
Hey, one more thing before you let me go.
Yeah.
How awesome would it be for us to dominate Ohio State like we did Clemson or something like that?
I mean, it would be the hype of the century because theoretically that would mean Notre Dame's undefeated and then they blow out Ohio State pretty much at home. Then Notre Dame's a top 3 team guaranteed pretty much. And then you're off to the races. That's what happens. Like if that happened, the hype machine it would be outrageous. Everything with Notre Dame, good or bad, gets magnified by people like me, I admit. But like if that happened, it would be Notre Dame a top 3 team. People would lose their minds.
Yeah, I'm celebrating if we win that game because we haven't beat Ohio State probably in a long time. It would be a big win for us, I think.
Yeah, it'd be beautiful, man. So I don't know. Hey, you're local to 574. If you want to go to Blue and Gold, look for my flag. I'll be in the stadium lot. You'll see the flag. Come have a beer.
Yes, I'm going to try to go. I'll definitely try to visit you.
Yep, beautiful. We'll be in the stadium lot. I'll have a big white, always Irish flag, music. You can't miss me. People will see me. I'll be making a scene. You'll know me when you see me. Thanks for calling, my friend. Have a good Monday night.
Okay, you too.
See you later. Take it easy.
All right, see you.
See ya. We're going to 574 again. The South Bend area code is popping. 574. Give me some more. Welcome.
How's it going?
It's going good. Lively on a Monday night. What's on your mind, my friend? Thanks for the call.
Well, first off, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Israel Adesanya, who won the belt back on Saturday in the UFC. I just wanted to say that.
All right, there we go. We got that out. Beautiful.
But then I'm saying my prediction for the season, obviously as a fan, I always say 12-0, but realistically, I'm gonna go like 11-1. And I feel like we're gonna beat Ohio State and Clemson. I just feel like USC is too good. You know, Caleb Williams,
Yeah.
all those dudes they got on offense. I'm worried like their O line and D line. If they get called for holding, they're not beating us. But we all know how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, you're multiple people today have told me that they feel more certain about Notre Dame competing and beating Ohio State than USC. It's a problem to me to have our new coach that I really want to succeed take an 0-2 start against USC. I got to admit, man, that makes it hard. That makes it hard for me to sleep at night. I'm not comfortable with that. It makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I have a feel. I mean, I want us to win, obviously, but it's just Caleb Williams coming back after already winning the Heisman and what he did last year with the help of the refs keeping that flag in their back pocket.
Yeah.
But we were in that game until we were driving back. What really lost us the game was that Drew Pine fumble in the second half because we were about to cut it to I think 10. That would have got us right back in the game. We got to stop the next possession, but it didn't matter because Drew Pine fumbled in the red zone. That completely washed our momentum away, and that's what lost us that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. All right, let me ask you this, since I always just love hearing where other people's minds are at. I'm going to ask you this. What do you feel best about the team going into next year, and what do you feel uncertain about? What makes you worry?
So, obviously, our running back room is deep. You can plug in any guy in that room, and he can perform for you. I like that. Obviously, I'm a little worried on the tight ends. Like, there's nobody really proven. I like Mitchell Evans, but can he do it consistently? Can he block? So I'm sold on the offense. What I'm worried about is the safety play because we don't have a dude right there. We have a bunch of guys, but we don't have.
You have a receiver. You have a wide receiver back there. That I need Xavier Watts to make plays, baby. Yeah. But hey, look at it this way. Look at it this way. He's got mad ball skills, right? Because he was a wide receiver. So theoretically, he should be better. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But it does.
I'm also worried about the linebackers. Not because
I know
we don't have the talent.
I know.
Are we going to play JD and Kaiser, or are we going to put Snead, Colley, those guys?
Nope.
That's what I'm worried about.
Nope. You're getting Bertrand. You're getting Marist. You're getting Kaiser. That's what you're getting. I'm telling you, that's what you're going to get, bro. That's what you're going to get. I'm already letting it sink in my head. That's what I'm going to get. Yeah. That's who they're going with. I would like a blend with some of the young athletic speed guys that have length. I'm telling you, you're getting the guys that make us nervous is who they're going to run out there. You know that. They are.
Yeah. And I'm honestly surprised that Prince Colley hasn't transferred. Because if I'm him, I'm like, I can play anywhere else. I'm better than Bertrand. I'm better than Kaiser. I'm better than Maris. There's no reason for me to just be playing special teams primarily. But I hope our linebacker rotations are good this year. I don't want to see J.D. Bertrand out there first a long time. I just don't want to see him.
I just feel
he's missing so many tackles versus athletic.
I know.
It's horrible.
And the other thing too is, and I always pick on Marist, but I think it's just because I see his hair flopping around every time he doesn't get home on a blitz. Like, I need him to hone it. Like, bro, I don't want to pick on him, but I always see his hair flying around when he's getting blocked a half second late to go in there and make a play. Like, I don't know. But
yeah.
And the recruiting at linebacker's been pretty good. Like, they have guys to choose
but none of those
from.
Guys are getting on the field.
I know, but it's like, but that's the frustrating part, because I feel like they have more options for personnel groupings to match together. But I think they're running out there exactly what you saw. Get used to it in your mind, man. Yeah. I think that's what you're going to get. I do.
Yeah, but the worst part about it is, like, all of us see it on TV in person, but the coaches, they I guess they just love JD so much, love JD and Jack Kaiser. I like him better than JD, but like, because Bertrand, every time we go up against an athletic team or a very good team like Ohio State, even in the bowl game, in the Fiesta Bowl, he's missing tackles. He can't get to the edge.
Yeah.
Any guys.
And you know what happens? Here's what happens. Listen.
Like, he'll get his 10 tackles a game and everyone will praise him.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to rip on him. He's not the most athletic guy. And what you said is exactly right. He's a guy in the right space most of the time against 10 of the 12 teams we play. But it's the other two where I need him to be in that space to make a play. And he's just a step slower can't get off a block or whatever. Linebackers got to get way better. I'm nervous at safety, but here's something we didn't talk about. What about D-line? Are you confident we're going to be able to stop the run and get after the quarterback? Cross, Mills, Rubio, Anye, what do you got?
I don't know. I want to see how the dude from Ohio State plays.
Jean-Baptiste. Jean-Baptiste. It's a very religious name coming to Notre Dame. Jean-Baptiste. I don't know. But let me ask you this. Wait. If he was that good, why would he be leaving Ohio State and not playing there as a starter all the time? Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just asking. If Jean-Pierre was that awesome, he'd either be in the league or he'd be starting at Ohio State. So that's whatever, man. Whatever. I'm just saying.
The one guy I'm confident about on the D-line is Patello. I like him off the edge. If he can, keep his temper, because I saw multiple times for South Carolina, he's, smacking the player's helmet.
He runs hot.
If he does that, he's eventually going to get a personal foul.
He runs hot.
2.5 sacks that game.
Yeah.
So if he gets his temper under control, he can have 10, 12 sacks this season.
Here's the
thing. I don't know if he can do it. But he's shown he can't.
But Tello has the mindset of, seek and destroy. He is after you to knock your head and disconnect it from your carcass, and then you are deceased on the field. Like everything Patello does is on the idea of tombstoning, pile driving you into the ground. Now is his time. He has waited his time. He's got, he's played some. Now it is his time to shine. I need him to be snapping necks and writing checks.
Yeah, I need to see. Yeah, I need to see him, bro, because I've liked him since he came in. I've liked him. I've liked his mentality because he's always been like that.
Me too.
He's never gonna give up against anybody.
But it's
mad,
it's like a consistency thing, though, right? Of keeping your level head and being consistent with it and not overdoing it. But now is his time. He could be that Viper, come off the edge. They just need to tell him, seek and destroy. That is your mission for the year. Seek and destroy.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the D-line. I wish we would have got Fitz from Western Michigan. The guy that ended up thinking with Florida State. But he was great. If we would have got him, I would have felt a little more confident because you get some some production that's shown he can produce. We have a lot of guys on the line that have played but haven't necessarily like produced.
Yeah.
You know, we have Nana.
Yeah.
Nana's a great player, but this is really going to be his first year in the spotlight. He's a fifth-year senior.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're going to get from him consistently. You know, 1 or 2 times he's going to break through and make that play, but I don't know if he can do that consistently. That's the problem with the whole D-line.
Yep, I agree with you. So I have some questions there. Tell me if you agree with this. Offensively, I think we're going to be better. And I think the 2 areas we were weakest in last year have been massively upgraded in talent at quarterback, wide receiver. I expect the offense to take a big step forward. And if they don't, I'm going to be very disappointed. And I suspect if the offense doesn't take a big jump forward, my guess would be it's either going to be due to major injury to key guys and or the interior offensive line not being able to hold up. That's the only thing that could collapse all of that offensive like trajectory I want is if the interior offensive line can't support the twin towers of terror on the tackles. That's my only way the offense doesn't look way better. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I like the O-line. I like Straw.
Billy, old Billy boy.
Yeah, like Rocco Spindler, he just must not be that good. Like he came in, hyped up, great recruitment. I really wanted him to play, but if the coaches, I mean, it's looking like it's going to be Stroth and Kristofic at the guard spot. As of now, if the season started, that's probably who it'd be. But I like Rocco. I just don't think he'll play at Indy. I just don't think he's developed.
Yeah,
but I do like our offense is clearly improved. I mean, receiver, we were running Matt Salerno out there a lot last year, and there's no reason for Matt Salerno to be out playing. Like he had 1 catch versus OSU, it's kind of luck, and then he had 2 catches the rest of the year. But obviously, our receivers, Tobias will step into that role that he really should have been in last year. If he didn't get that concussion, he would have.
Colsey started to come alive towards the end of the year. Jaden Thomas.
Colsey versus USC was, oh my God.
Yeah, Jaden Thomas was already good. And here's the other thing. Can I get Styles to wake up this year? Hello, wake up. We need you, dog. Wake up. Get engaged. Wake up. We need you. Wake up. Or you're going to get passed by all the freshmen. This is it. Show out and ball out this year or you're out. And I'm letting Rico Flores get all your snaps. And I don't care how old you are. Wake up.
Yeah. And I mean, the receivers, I even forgot we got Smith from Virginia Tech, the 6th-year guy. So if you're comparing the receivers from last year to this year, it's much better. It's way better because obviously
it's way better.
Styles, he improves, but even if he doesn't, we got Colsey, Thomas, Smith, and all the freshmen. I like Greathouse out of everyone. I like Greathouse most. James is up there as well, but they're all great receivers. I mean,
well, the thing is, there's 2 bars here, man. Nationally elite is like 1 bar, the best that it could be. But another bar is being better than what we've been, right? And so where I see Notre Dame's offense ending up next year is somewhere in between. Not elite of the elite, but definitely a notch or 2 above where we've been. Maybe an actual complementary offense that can run it and throw it. That would be ideal, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people, like, especially on Twitter, say our receivers sucked last year, which they weren't the best, but a lot of it was, like last year, Braden Lindsey could have had about 5-6 touchdowns, but either Prime didn't look at him, or he overthrew him, or underthrew him.
Yeah.
And a lot of that happened where a guy would be open downfield, but he throws it to Mayer. When he's double covered, and Mayer would still catch it. But receivers, obviously,
Mayer
didn't have the best quarterback last year.
Mayer was the number 1 option on 90% of the routes, and then he was also the bailout option on every route. Like it was just Mayer. You're the mayor. Like whatever. But now, and also the competition level that raises the bar of everything because now you have more receivers that are competing for snaps. And the older guys worry the younger guys. There's actually guys that can play and take their snaps. That should raise the level of competition. They have a quarterback who could spin it better. I expect big things from the passing game. And if we don't get it, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, it's just like I'm so excited for the spring game. I just want to see how all the receivers, because last year we had Drew Pine playing QB for both teams in the first half.
Well, it's because Buckner lost the fight with the stairs. That's why. He did. They beat him up. The stairs beat him up, man. They stuck up on him.
Yeah.
They did.
Honestly, I felt so bad for Pine last year because he would go out, he'd get a 2-minute break to come back. And he threw like 3 picks.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a break the whole first half. Turned out he was that bad, really. But
yeah, it was rough. Listen, man, are you going to Blue and Gold?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Hey, I'm having a tailgate. Come say hi. I'll be in the stadium lot. You'll see my flag, and we'll have a big group. Swing by at some point, have a drink, have some food, man. We'll be out there all morning.
For sure. I'll definitely try to get out there.
Beautiful. You won't miss me, man. You'll see the flag and probably hear me yelling from a mile away. Thanks for calling, my friend. Yeah. Have a good Monday night.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll see you at the Blue and Gold. Come holler at your boy.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one, man. Thank you. Man, we got nice callers on a Monday. Oh, we got a morning caller calling in. 707. We're catching you in the evening.
I'm shocked.
Shocked.
What are you doing on now?
Huh?
What are you doing on now?
It's when I was available, man. I had something to do this morning, but you know me. I need my Monday fix.
Well, I was very pleasantly surprised when I got onto YouTube.
Well, I don't want to let you down. Shouldn't you have known something was up that I didn't have a morning show? I mean, I felt bad, but I got to do something on a Monday. I got to talk Notre Dame.
I called in and yeah.
What?
Okay. I'm sorry. I was on a bit of a delay there with you.
Oh.
So I was listening the other day, probably on the weekend, and I got your show popped up after the Ohio State game last year.
Yeah.
And I was very proud to hear that I was like the only one that mentioned Benjamin Morrison after the first game.
Yeah, there you go, man. You were early on that train. That's a popular train to be on now. You were in early.
Exactly. So, John, I'm going to put something in the room now, and I want you to take a look at it. I might have. Oh, I went way over. Shoot. Sorry. I'll try and let's see what I can do here. But I outlined what I'm seeing from the defense point of view, and why I don't think it's going to be quite as bad. And I'll just put in the stuff that it can take. It takes up to 200 characters. But I put down there, if you're looking, the main players for playing time.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
First off, Nick Dean, thanks for the $5 holler. Appreciate the support, Nick. Thank you for that donation. Chance Tucker, Lewis, Morrison, Botello, Colley, Sneed. Yeah, I like some of this, but I wonder how many of these guys are like going to be needed. Like Botello's needed, but Jean Baptiste needed. I think Agne's going to be needed. Like there's more of these guys that I think we're going to need that I just haven't seen yet. And it's not necessarily that they're going to be bad, but I just have that anxiety until I see that I can rely on them week to week. That's my problem.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're going to have players step up for the guys that left. But what I'm looking at is that these are guys that got some playing time. I didn't put Mickey down there yet, but I think he's a cornerback.
Yep.
And was he there last year, or is he a freshman?
Yep. Nope. He was there last year, and he got in some. I don't think he was quite ready for the biggest stage, but I think that he should be rounding into form.
Yeah, but if you look at it, I probably listed about 16 players that actually played last year. So, I'm liking, like I said, I'm changing my mind about our defense. Like, at least these guys are going to have some experience coming into this year.
Yeah.
All these guys.
Yeah, it's just, is it fair of me to say I will be a believer in the defense only when they hold their own against Ohio State? Is that fair to me, or am I being a jerk? Like, whatever happens before in the first handful of games where we have more talent, talk to me after it. There's all zeros on the screen against Ohio State, and then I'll tell you how I feel about that defense. It is suspect to me till they hold up against them.
And we have to get to the quarterback this year. There's been too many years of not getting a lot of sacks in a year. You know, like throughout the years, we've always had like one really good defensive lineman, you know?
Yeah.
And we've relied on that to get us through, but you know, I think Cross is going to be like the only guy that we can really count on to do something with the defensive line and possibly disrupting quarterbacks. But, you know, of course, I'd love to see Snead, you know, on the field and rush end, and Anya is a big boy, and I'd like to see him. You know, all the attention's probably going to be on Baptiste, so I'm hoping that we're going to be able to see a lot more pressure this year.
Am I being a jerk when I say if Jean-Baptiste was so good, he'd either be in the league or starting for Ohio State, not coming to us? Am I wrong? Am I like a jerk for saying that? I don't think I am. I think that's just reality.
Yeah, well, they're so loaded every year that he was a situational player. But the good thing about that was they used him on passing downs. So he was a rush guy. So that's a good thing for Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the linebackers, listen, man, I don't think you're going to see those young guys start. Like, you're not going to see that. A lot of people want it. I'm telling you right now, I don't think you're going to see it. Now, does that mean that they're not going to have all these packages with mixed personnel groups and different things they want to do? Fine. But I think people that are like, don't want to see Bertrand out there, you're going to see Bertrand out there. Like that. People just need that. That's what's happening. It is.
And that's what I'm showing on what I posted there, is that I have him as a rotate in kind of a guy along with Kaiser. I'm not believers in them yet because I saw them get burned a lot. But you know, it takes a lot in college when you have that extra year of maturity and you're kind of situated into leadership by default because you're older. You know, maybe that'll make a difference, and maybe they're going to work hard. You know, and maybe they're going to come around to, you know, being a pretty vicious and attacking kind of a player. I know Patelho is.
Yeah.
But, you know, these guys like Bertrand, I'm not buying it yet. And Kaiser, he runs around and he's pretty fast, but he doesn't plug. He doesn't contact. You know, he doesn't make enough plays for me.
That's like my complaint of always seeing Marist's hair flying around. Like I see that hair so much and it makes me mad because I never see it on the offensive player. You know?
I know, and I demoted him. I made him a fill-in kind of a rotate player.
Yeah.
Because he was so bad last year.
All right.
I expected so much, you know?
Yeah, I know. And he came off but the thing is, he came off the injury and then it was like, now he's healthy. This is going to be the year and all that. And it just didn't happen. Let me ask you this. What do you feel most confident about on the team right now? And what's your biggest concern entering next year?
Well, I don't know. I'm off the top of my head, I'm feeling pretty good about the quarterback situation. I don't think Buckner's taking this as being, I'm going to just try and do what I can. I think he's looking to start, and I like that because I like Buckner. You know, he probably has as little of playing time as the Ohio State quarterback that's just coming in. He's had like, you know, two and a half games maybe, like not even 2.5 games. You know, he had a full game against Ohio State. He had a quarter and against whatever that second team that we played was. Yeah. That we lost to Marshall, I guess. And then, you know, the year before that with Buck, he would come in for special packages for a few plays. So he doesn't have what he's shown me, you know, for that lack of experience. I'm liking it, you know? Yeah. So I'm really all for him, but I got to say, every time you see Hartman talking to the media, the guy is buff. I mean, he's huge.
Yeah, I know. He does. He looks big to me, too. He looks big to me. It might just be because I'm a freaking walking skeleton. I'm open to that everybody looks big because I'm a walking skeletor, but he looks big and strong and a 6-year guy to me. Looks like he's ready to rock.
I'm liking it, and I'm liking the receivers. I think Jaden Thomas is going to be great this year. And the running backs, of course, are going to be, as expected. I don't think they're going to fall off at all. So the only real concern is what Rudolph's going to do with the offensive line. How is he going to plug in players to make that offensive line click?
Interior offensive line is the only, outside of injury, interior offensive line is the only thing that I see derailing this offense from being very good.
I know. That's why I'm kind of listing the defensive guys, because I think we're gonna surprise a lot of teams this year. Honestly, we don't get any respect from the Big Ten. It's Michigan, Ohio State. They all mock out Notre Dame, and then the SEC. Forget about it. They mock out the Big Ten. Who mocks out us? So. Yeah. All I want is to really shock some people and be able to win some big games.
Well, you know what, man? Ohio State is your first big chance in prime time to do it. You have all the advantages. They're coming to your place at night. They have the new young quarterback. You have an established guy. You're wearing green, pumping everybody else. It's all there for you. You want big games. The schedule's full of them.
Yeah, and we just can't start slow. We have to start. And I'm talking about from the beginning of the year. I want to see a blowout of Navy. I don't want to see us holding back on anything. I want us to be recognized, going into Ohio State. Look at these guys' stats,
Yeah. But see, you got to earn that. You got to earn that. And you got to take care of business and all that. I don't know, man. But I'm excited. And it's going to be a really long summer. I don't want to wait.
I know. The blue gold game is going to be fun and everything, and I'm going to watch a lot of different teams with blue and gold. Just the good teams, just to see.
Yeah, be able to
where
see.
We stack up when we.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I don't know, man. It's going to be. It's just so many things. Just you got to do. We just have to control what we can control. Win those early games. Yeah. Work on what you need to work on. Get guys snaps that need to get snaps. Everything just needs a round into form for that Ohio State game. And it needs to all go to plan with no missteps,
And I talk about Buckner a lot, but I'll tell you, I'm really happy we have Hartman, because I think he's, he came from a pretty middle of the road kind of a team, and he's going to have a lot more talent around him.
Yeah. Yeah, that should help.
And the the receivers are going to be as good as the ones he had. I saw a few games of his last year, and they were good receivers. They made some phenomenal catches for him.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to have too much of a drop-off from what I saw him do for them when they.
Yeah, and the offensive line's got to be better, and the running backs are going to be better. There's a lot of advantages. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If an offensive coordinator is really an unknown for sure. He was a tight end coach, and he was a co-offensive coordinator for a couple of games or something. So he really hasn't proven anything. And who knows what kind of offense? Is he going to keep Reese's offense for the most part, or is he going to develop something on his own? Is Dooley going to help him, try and create an offense based on his quarterbacks that he's watching every day? There's a lot of unknowns, but I just feel good about the position groups, as a whole, because I think we're as deep as we've been in a long, long time.
Yeah, especially offensively, I feel that way. The defense, I might get there, but I got to see it to believe it. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. But thanks for giving me a call on a Monday night. You're usually a morning guy. Thank you.
My pleasure. Go Irish.
I appreciate it. Go Irish. All right, here's the deal. 1 minute break. 574 Mason and Adam, you're up next. 1 minute break. Entertain yourselves. We back. We back. Mason, what up? What's up, man?
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. We're flipping through YouTube trying to find something to watch, and I flipped you on, so I figured I'd call in and say what's going on.
Fantastic. Anybody who doesn't know, Mason Plummer, Golden Homers, check it out on Twitter. Find him, subscribe, listen to the podcast. Do a lot of recruiting work. What's on your mind, Mason, other than White Sox baseball? What's on your mind? We're not going to go there, but what's up with football?
Yeah, pulled out a close one today, but yeah, I thought, since you mentioned the podcast, I thought I'd bring up what we just recorded about today. I thought you might think that was interesting. So Nathan Urbach and I, he's my podcast partner, we both went through our top 5 must-gets in terms of the whole class, the 2024 class. So that was pretty cool. We didn't talk about it beforehand, but we just went through our individual list of guys that we think are must-gets for Notre Dame this year, and I thought it'd be interesting to bring to your show.
I love that. What do you got?
Yes, I have some honorable mentions as well. You want me to start there and then go 5 to 1?
Beautiful. Let it rip.
All right. So I'm starting with both of the Smith brothers, Jared mainly on the defensive line. I think there will be a package deal. I'm excited about those two.
That's my question.
Young.
That was my number one question. Is that going to be a package type deal?
Yeah, I mean, from everything, they do their visits together, they post graphics together. I think if you get one, you get both. I'm excited about that. Kedron Young, the running back out of Texas, just missed my top 5. And then Jaden Riddell or Carter Nelson, both at tight end. I'd like to have another one other than Jack Larson. So those are 3 spots I'd like to hit. And then, John, to get into my top 5 here, I've got Kingston Villian-Asa, the linebacker out of California. I think that he brings a lot of size and versatility. I think Notre Dame's linebacker position's set up nicely for the future, but with him being 6'3", I think he could rush off the edge and just be a versatile guy. I think he's a faster Leofau. Next, I have any safety. I don't know if you've touched on this in the show, but the safety position, the depth is super concerning.
Yeah.
So I think Bronte Johnson, or there's another guy that Nathan mentioned on the show that his name's escaping me, but Bronte Johnson's a Fort Wayne, Indiana kid. They've had some issues being able to recruit him. We'll see how that goes, but he's been a guy I've been tracking for about 2 years now, so that would kind of suck if that didn't end up going in Notre Dame's favor. Number 3 for me, Gerby Lambert, the offensive lineman. There aren't a lot of true tackles when you're looking at high school kids. You don't always get a Blake Fisher coming out, and that's a true tackle immediately. But Gerby Lambert is that. Notre Dame's taken a lot of guards recently. So that's where I'd like to push for. Number 2, Jason Robinson, the wide receiver out of Cali. Notre Dame needs more receivers, and he looks like the top guy to pair with Cam Williams. I think they're both top 100 talents. And lastly, obviously, Justin Scott. So love what you see out of Justin Scott all the time. And anything that you can get on the defensive line in terms of 5-star talent, whether it's defensive tackle or a rush end or a big end, give me all of that because Georgia has about 25 Justin Scott.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's why Keeley hurt me so much. It was like, hey, Nick, can't you just go get one of the other 20 of these guys you can get and let us have the one guy that has good grades with it? Like, but no, he had to have that one. He had to get him. Yeah,
and that's going to hurt to see him balling out in all the college football playoffs and everything.
Yeah.
Sacks on sacks.
All right. So if you're looking at that as like must gets, what, like, are they realistic? Like, that's the next question is how realistic? You're saying must get. Like, how far down are we on this path where we think Notre Dame's right in the mix to be a finalist for all these guys? Or do we not know yet?
Yeah, so I think these are all really realistic. Guys, they'll be visiting very soon. The month of April is big for visits leading into May and June when guys will start to make early decisions once they find the spots that they want to be. But the way I made my list was top talents that are on the top of Notre Dame's board mixed in with how realistic are they, and then are they at a position of need? So that's how I made my top 5, and Nathan has different criteria for his. We'll be dropping that episode.
Yeah, and see, that's where I see, like, you can move up safety just because you feel like you need that more. Yeah, I get that.
Right. But, I mean, encouraging signs out of camp so far. The Ben Minnick is getting some eyes. I think Adon Schuler, once he's healthy, would be getting those same reports. So you have 2 hits there. It's just too bad on Hillman and Bowen. That could be a really awesome safety class. But
Yeah.
you got to keep adding bodies there. You're not going to get a Kyle Hamilton. I mean, that's a once-in-a-generational kind of guy. So
Yeah. Was Mason or was Nathan pretty close with you on his, or did he have a couple guys at a different level or totally different guys altogether in there?
we only had 2 that overlapped, and that would be Justin Scott and Gerby Lambert. Justin Scott, the defensive tackle, and Gerby Lambert, the offensive tackle. So, yeah, we both have some different targets that we think Notre Dame feels good about. So that's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good. What would you say if I threw to you best case, worst case, regular season record? Where would you fall on that?
Best case, I think 11-1 is in the cards. I don't think they make it through unscathed. That this schedule is pretty daunting.
Yeah, it is.
Worst case scenario, I'm gonna go 8-4. I think worst case would be you lose the big 3 and then another one in there, which is possible.
Yep, that would be that's exactly my numbers. I had 11-1 on the high end and a crappy 8-4. Everybody's gonna hate with a lot of dumb stuff on that end.
Yeah, I think 8. It really should be 9. Is the absolute floor with a guy like Hartman. But, weird things happen. A bunch of injuries could happen. Things just don't work out like you planned.
Yeah.
I was listening to you talk about the defense. It makes me a little bit nervous, too. But, for once, the secondary is the strength. Somebody has to break out in the defensive line. And we're hearing some good reports from guys I wouldn't necessarily expect, like Jason Anye.
Yeah.
I'm big on that. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah. And then the other thing with the schedule part is it's a darn tough schedule. Like 22 and 23 are so much more difficult than like Kelly's last year, where the biggest game was Cincinnati at home and we couldn't get it done. Like, give me a break, man. Like, these are legitimately tough schedules. So Freeman's he's going through it, man, his first 2 years. Welcome to the big leagues, because it has just been one tough thing after the next. And I hope he emerges on the other side of that stronger, in a better position.
Yeah, I think he'll look back, in a couple of years, hopefully he's still here 5, 6, 7 years down the road, and look back at the beginning like, wow, I don't know how I made it through, because he definitely has been dealt a tough hand. But
yeah.
I think we got the right guy at the helm. And I think you were the first one really calling for it back when he was defensive coordinator and just saying not to let him leave.
It was, I'll be honest, it was the recruiting, man. It was all the reports I was hearing behind the scenes that the recruiting office couldn't even keep up with his paperwork and all the things he was asking them to check up on with these high school guys. And that was, to me, the number one thing Kelly didn't want to do. So it made perfect sense to me. Now, the downside of that is if he flames out and goes 7-5 this year, I'm taking that hit just like he is, because I was on his boat. So that's going to work for me or against me, but here I am.
Yeah, there's definitely been an uptick in recruiting. Everybody can tell that. I love the video you made going after that clown on Twitter. I went after him on Twitter, too.
Yeah.
Cooper Patagna, saying that his recruiting's the same as Kelly's. That's horrible.
It screams to me a guy. They told him like the day before, you're going to be on this podcast talking about Notre Dame. And he pulled up the classes and then looked at a Kelly one. He goes, here's the narrative. It's short-sighted. If you do that for a living, you need to look into it more than that. That was a bad effort by him.
So do you think that, I think this sometimes, some of the things that pop up on my YouTube, do you think that they put out things like, these big websites, these big talking heads or whatever, they put out things targeted towards Notre Dame fans, like, because they know that we'll come in droves commenting and and liking and clicking? I
get that. But don't you think that if you go too far with it, you risk losing credibility? If it's like absurd, then the clickbait nature of it, you're like, it's self-defeating because you're going to get a lot of clicks. But if all the clicks are everybody saying you're an idiot, is that really good for you long term? I doubt it. And you'd think you'd want to have the Notre Dame fan base on your side, but I don't know. Yeah, and the recruiting stuff altogether, I don't know what to trust anymore. Who's with us? Who's against us? Everybody's great, and then they commit to Notre Dame and they drop 100 spots the next week. I don't get it, man. Right. Justin Scott's a certified 5-star, so is DJ Carr. So theoretically, we should have one on both sides of the ball if Scott goes through with, how everything's looking and goes to Notre Dame. But all right. I would imagine that Let me give you a
Neither.
Scott nightmare scenario. 219, I got you next, Adam. You're coming up next. Let me give you a Scott nightmare scenario. I saw the quote of him saying he's a mama's boy and he likes being close to mom and all that. That favors Notre Dame, obviously, being right down the old toll road there. But I could love and miss my mama from Athens, Georgia, with $2 to $3 million in the bank, and I'll fly her down to see me whenever the hell I want, and I'm sitting on a bunch of money. Like, I'm just saying, the way things go, you could be a mama's boy from Athens too, and call her on the phone with $2 million in a book bag in the corner of the room. Just saying.
And she's got a new house to keep up with and all that. All the toys, new cars, all that.
I mean, you were the one who told me about a year ago, John, even a verbal commitment, don't count that to the bank. It sticks in my mind what you told me. All that is naming a leader in the clubhouse. That's it. And sure enough,
You're naming a public leader and telling everybody else to come after you.
Yeah. Yep. And recruiting's wild now, man. It's just so, it's just bizarre. I never thought we'd get to a point where even a verbal commitment doesn't really mean a commitment. It's like, why even call it a commitment then? Just call it a flirtation. Call it my number one flirtation. I don't know. I'm an old guy, man. I want you, if you commit verbally, then you're done looking around. Sorry. Or if not, why commit? Why commit then?
After these visits, we'll have some good news, John. I'll come back on the show in like May, and we can talk about hopefully a few commitments. But I'll get off and let you next guy hop on.
Beautiful. Oh, by the way, are you and Nathan coming to Blue and Gold? Will you both be there, or just you?
I think it's just me. I know I definitely am. I'll have to ask him.
All right. But we're having a big thing, so make sure you come by. All the regular people and everybody. We'll be out there all morning early, so swing by. I'll text you.
Cool. Sounds good, man. I'll see you then.
Beautiful. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, John.
Go Sox. Jack Sacco in the house. Anybody doesn't know Jack Sacco by now? One of the most famous Notre Dame alums, making moves in Hollywood, making moves in the orchestra world, making moves as an author. Mr. Jack Sacco is about as well-rounded as they come. Good to see you, Jack. I'll be seeing you at Blue and Gold. He's going to come by. Adam, what's going on tonight? What up?
Tom, what's up, buddy?
What are you doing?
Yeah, you just sound like you try to calm down a little bit.
Huh? Yeah, you know me.
Like calm down, finally.
Yeah, you know me, man. I'm always calm. I just chill out. I always keep it level headed. I never get worked up. You know that.
So earlier, my wife says to me, she goes, "Man, John is just always yelling. Maybe the show should be always yelling."
Well, I'm only always yelling when there's things to yell about. If there wasn't anything to yell about, Notre Dame was just good all the time, I wouldn't have to get mad all the time. If we were just good, there wouldn't be as much to yell at. It's not my fault. Blame them. I'm just a mirror. All I do is reflect what's going on. And the last 30 years of us not winning anything I care about has taken its toll on my hairline and blood pressure.
No, you're just letting Cousin Luke get to you. That's what I told you. He's just letting Cousin Luke get to you.
I think that's Cousin Luke's fifth screen name. Maybe fourth, maybe fifth. But I can't even remember all the other ones I banned. He's got to be the same guy from all the other stuff I banned, and then there's a new one. And I want him to come to the Blue and Gold tailgate party. I don't even know who he is. I just want him to get a beer and meet me. He doesn't have to unveil himself. Just come say hi.
Yeah, in the chat, he tried telling me that the schedule wasn't tough. I mean, come on, you lose your credibility right there.
You can't.
No.
You can't even really create a tougher schedule. The only way you can create a tougher schedule is what? Add Georgia onto it? You already got like the best team in 3 of these conferences. What do you want?
I mean, John, we're around the same age. And obviously, as a kid, I didn't look at the schedule. But honestly, these are the toughest two schedules I can remember.
Yep, they are. Dude, I remember 3 or 4 years ago when I was still recording this show from my old work office, not even on camera. I remember looking at these schedules saying, Kelly better figure this out. He better get this recruiting going, because when you look at what's coming down the road in 22 and 23, you're in trouble. So I remember bringing that up.
Yes, 100%. I can remember sitting in the stadium and telling my wife the day of that Cincinnati game, like, we better win this game because BK's in some serious trouble the next couple of years, because that schedule is getting way tougher.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We got down 17-0 at home to Cincinnati.
Yeah. That was the big game for Kelly, man. And it was at home too. Like, losing to Cincinnati is always unacceptable. Even if it was on the road, I would understand it a little more. At home, toughest game of the year, USC still garbage. You got nothing. So I
mean, John, maybe Rice had one. I can kind of think where Michigan was real good and SC was good, like the 05-06 time.
Yeah.
But still, that's only two. We're going to play three top, probably 8 teams.
Yeah, it's a real schedule. You know what it is? It's a Rockney schedule. 3 big brand names, 3 different conferences, 3 geographical regions. This is new Rockney scheduling. The difference is his team's always won.
And what you know what you don't hear nationally anymore? Notre Dame plays a soft schedule. But you don't hear that much anymore.
Who can really say that when you're looking at 22 and 23? If you wanted to say it Kelly's last year, I would agree with you. And that's why I said you got to take advantage of it that year, because it was easier. And now, will this help Freeman long-term, battle test him, give him that scar tissue to have these brutal schedules the first 2 years, like where there's no breathing room? Like, a part of me thinks that if he could survive through this, it might make him stronger on the back end, because these are the 2 toughest schedules in recent vintage for sure.
Yeah, because it's only going to get easier from here. I mean, I think I looked at some future stuff where we got Texas A&M and Florida State kind of on the uptick, and Miami. We'll see where they go. But we got some stuff with those, but nothing. We're not going to have 3. I think we're going to have 2 moving forward.
Yeah,
that are going to be real tough, but there's never going to be 3.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know, man. You got a lot of pushback on the scheduling model. You know, if you look at the way Michigan's tried to do it, it's very clear what they've done. They're trying to build themselves as soft of a path to the playoff as possible, not play out of conference tough teams. Like, that's what they're doing. Notre Dame kind of leans into it the opposite way. The benefit is when you get to the new playoff era, you're going to have more flexibility. So that'll help.
Yeah, that's always going to be my kind of argument is, you know, why play the tough schedule? Because at the end, people may beat you up in September and early October, but at the end they say, oh, you're undefeated, even though you only played 1 game all year.
Yeah. I wish the playoff committee would actually mean what they say and go, Michigan, oh, you beat Ohio State, but you didn't play anybody else, and you chose not to play anybody else in the non-conference. Like, I can't blame Michigan if in-conference teams aren't great. That's not their fault. But the cowardice to cancel Power 5 non-conference games to schedule more high school teams, that rubs me the wrong way. So it'd be different if they actually held them accountable, but they don't. It doesn't matter.
It's almost like they depended on us to be their non-conference game. And once we stopped playing them, because really they bring no benefit to us, they didn't know what to do. And they couldn't, like, schedule anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, really, playing Michigan, they need us more than we need them.
Yeah.
They need us on their schedule. We can schedule anybody. Anybody will play us.
Well, but why do they do? But wait, why do they need us? They played nobody last year and skated to the playoffs. So what the hell do they need us for?
Well,
they did just fine.
They need us to say they have a tough schedule. That's all.
I don't even think they care about that. They're going to keep rolling this die. No, think about it, man. They're in a window now where they've clipped Ohio State twice. Their non-conference schedule is a joke. Nobody else in conference has the talent to compete with Ohio State or Michigan. Now they could skate into the playoff, and they're counting if they roll those dice enough times, it's going to come up aces sometime. And I just hope it's not until the 12-team playoff so they don't sneak in there on a soft schedule, get lucky, and win a title. I'm hoping that all happens when there's 12 teams and they get washed out and pay a price for getting in off the soft schedule. That's how I want it to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, how many times have we, tweeted and texted each other? I look at the schedule, how soft it is.
Every week.
It's embarrassing.
Every week it makes me mad. There's not a week that goes by I don't look at that schedule and go, they don't play nobody till Thanksgiving. It's November.
Yeah,
they don't play anybody with a pulse till November. That's not what this is for.
They play Penn State on November 11th will be the first game. Even Michigan State isn't any good. They're no good.
No, they're
So,
not.
Their first
They're not.
game is going to be Penn State on November 11th.
It's
November 11th.
It's a joke. I hope maybe they overlook one of them and like trip up this year. I don't know. And the other problem is, Adam, I know you've noticed this. This really upsets me. Their recruiting has gotten better. It is. It's on the rise. Their recruiting, I hate it. I hate it more than anything else. Their recruiting has gotten better this offseason. So I hate it. I'm just telling you it has.
We've argued kind of about this, but that is proof that you have to win the game. Once you win the game, the recruits start coming. I know we always say what comes first, chicken or the egg, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they are proof once you win the game, it upticks.
Yeah.
Georgia a few years ago, Georgia would always lose. Georgia was kind of like, under Mark Richt, was kind of like that BK level where they were always 10 wins.
Yeah,
never could win a big game.
Yeah.
But when it started for them was when they came up here and beat Notre Dame, and then they went in the playoffs and beat Oklahoma. They won a couple games, and the recruiting uptick. So I feel like you got to win these games. BK never won big games.
Nope. The most impressive win of his career was Halloween weekend in Norman, Oklahoma, 2012. That was the single most impressive win of the Kelly era, in my opinion, going on the road, beating that team and doing what they did in the middle of an undefeated season. That was it for me. That was 11 years ago.
I don't even count the Clemson game because Trevor Lawrence didn't play. Mm-hmm. So you might as well.
Yeah, no, that's a totally different thing.
He didn't even play.
Totally different thing. Yeah.
And he beat you by 30 points when he did play. So it totally eliminates.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But I don't know. It's going to be a long summer. I'm not ready to have these questions all summer. I just want to know what it's going to be, and we're not going to have that answer for a long, long time.
We kind of got off on a rant on the schedule and stuff, but I think one of the main reasons I was calling is that we've talked about how we're so scared of this defense, but I feel like some of the callers have almost started to calm me down, and maybe it's going to be okay.
I like that. That's healthy. And have a balance there. But at the same time, I don't care if we allow 0 points against Navy, 0 against Tennessee State, 0 against NC State, 0 against CMU, whatever that means. What do you do against Ohio State? I'm not going to have an opinion on that defense until zeros are on the clock after Ohio State. Then I'll know where we're at. They are suspect till that moment.
At the same point, I feel like listening to everyone in the callers, and you, I don't want to look past anybody. How many times have we seen Notre Dame lose games that are awful, or barely beat Toledo, Ball State? It's almost like everyone's talking about Ohio State. I just want to win one game at a time for 4 weeks before we even talk about it. Because we've seen this our whole life. It's been our whole life. So where we lose one or barely win these kind of games because everyone's just building it up to Ohio State. It just scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, I know.
Thinking about, something, we should have lost to Navy last year. Navy didn't run out of time. We would have lost to them if there was one more quarter. You know that, right?
Don't bring that up. That sounds too Brian Kelly-ish. You're bringing me back to Kelly era here. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
But think about it. Remember how that game went? We didn't even get a first down in the second half.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was Navy. Yeah, great. Best defense in the world. Navy or Georgia? Take your pick. Navy or Georgia?
NC, yeah. And then NC State, that's like a tough game. Like going there is going to be tough. It's going to be like their Super Bowl there that night. You know it is.
Yeah, yep, you're right.
Like that, it's going to be, yes, it's going to be. We're not going to, if this not walk to Ohio State, we have to just everybody, like I've just seen it too many times. I've sat in that stadium where we beat Ball State by 8. Like,
hey, look at it this way. Look at it this way. It was better than the Marshall game. It was better than the Stanford game. Like what I wouldn't pay to have one of those ugly wins against Ball State or Toledo last fall, you know? We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Hey, listen, I might need you to bring the grill for Blue and Gold. I might need your truck and the grill.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just let me know.
I'll even bring the food, but I just might need the grill and the truck.
That's fine. I could. I'll make sure. I'll pack up tent and the grill. I'll just plan on bringing it. I got my truck, so if we don't use it, we don't use it.
There you go. Beautiful, man. All right, we'll be in touch.
All right, yeah, sounds good, John. Love the show, and it was fun. We'll keep in touch.
Beautiful, man. Thanks for calling. Have a good night. See ya.
All right, bye. Bye.
Hollywood, California. And it ain't a USC fan. Jack Sacco, what's up?
It ain't. It is not a USC fan. I can guarantee you that.
I know. It throws me off, Jack, seeing your LA number, but I know you got a Notre Dame heart, just an LA area code, buddy.
LA area code. I tell you what. Actually, the police pulled me over once in Los Angeles. They didn't technically pull me over. I was at a stoplight. A policeman was behind me, and then he put on his flashers. And so I just, pulled off a little bit. And he walked up to the side of the car. I rolled the window down. He said, "You didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted you to know that I hate Notre Dame."
Come on, that really happened?
Yeah, that happened. That happened right at LAX at the airport. So I said, "Well, I appreciate you letting me know." And he walked back to his car.
Hey,
we went on our merry way.
I went
on a merry way. He probably went back to the miserable, evil empire.
Look at it this way, Jack. Wouldn't you at least? I'm glad you know what you're up against. Like at least there's no question. Then at least you know you're up against it. At least you knew.
No. I'll tell you what. The USC fans are actually, they're better. I mean, there's a certain respect between Notre Dame and Southern Cal people that you don't get with a lot of fan bases because.
Yeah.
We've both been there before, and so a lot of SEC teams don't.
Yeah, I bet
because I was raised in Alabama.
Yeah,
and I used to go to Alabama games when Bear Bryant was the coach, and my cousin played at Alabama under Bear Bryant. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Bear Bryant gave him a car.
That's nice. As a graduation gift or a signing gift? Those are way different.
Yeah. No, it was a graduation gift from high school.
From high school, not college. That's the point.
Yeah. He went over to his house and he was talking to my cousin and his mother, and he just slid some car keys across the table.
Wait a second. You're telling me that the SEC was doing illegal recruiting operations way back then? I find that hard to believe, Jack.
You wouldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, my brother, and you've met my brother, was asked to deliver some cash to a Alabama player once, and he actually drove the player to a house because he was asked to do it. But anyway. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. Before we take out all the receipts on the SEC recruiting, Jack. Here's what I'm asking. Here's what I'm asking a lot of people today. Give me your high end,
Yeah.
low end. Best case scenario with our schedule, where do you think we fall?
God.
And on the worst,
look.
on the bad end, where do you think it could be if things go wrong?
Now, you know me well enough to know, and I don't know how cousin, what's his name, Rufus. Anyway, I don't know how these people, some of these people, are going to react to what I'm about to say, because you know me, my high end is undefeated.
Perfect.
Always.
Yeah, because you refuse
all
to
I'm
accept a Notre Dame loss as a functional reality of life, and I respect that.
As a reality.
Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, Willingham. Now I was there for a couple of national championships back in my day. That was a long time ago. But I remember Willingham had gotten, I don't know, we'd lost several games in the season, including something by Purdue. And he made the statement about several games into the season. He said, well, they said, you think the team is losing too much, or he said, well, we should be 4-1 right now. And the fact that he said we should have lost the game, I would have terminated him right there.
Yeah.
On the spot.
Jack,
we should have lost the game.
you know what
No,
your standards
no.
remind me of? Your standards remind me of Mr. Leahy, where nothing but perfection was ever acceptable. I gotta ask, Jack. A lot of people are struggling when you ask them, what's a bigger game this year? USC or Ohio State? Both at home. Ohio State coming earlier in the year, USC a little later. Which of those is a bigger deal?
Well, I'm going to say the bigger deal is going to be Ohio State, just because we only play them. Well, we rarely play them.
Yeah.
And, we'll beat USC.
1936, I believe 1936 was Notre Dame's last win over Ohio State, unless I'm wrong. It was literally 1936, almost 100 damn years ago.
Hey, speaking of ancient times, and speaking of the Blue Gold game, and speaking of our boy Frank Leahy, I came across some information yesterday that I didn't know this. And I was talking to my friend Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, not the comedian, but the football player.
Not the comedian, the Heisman lineage. Way different Kevin Hart. We're talking a Heisman, not comedian.
Kevin can be humorous in his own right, but he's not the comedian, and he's definitely not short. I mean, he's a big, tall guy, but Kevin is a great guy. And honestly, Kevin Hart, Hart, is one of the greatest architects in the country. Look him up. Kevin Hart, and he's out of Michigan. But anyway, Kevin, and I don't know if you actually met Kevin, but he was at the Stanford weekend last year, and he brought his father Leon's Heisman Trophy, and it was at our house where we stayed. And you have a picture with it, and we need to post that a lot, and to let Notre Dame and all Notre Dame fans know what our standards are. But here's something Kevin told me yesterday that I had no idea about this. He told me that his father, Leon, and a lot of the older players from Notre Dame, who had graduated in through the NFL and all that, would go back and play in the Blue Gold game.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. I never knew that was a thing. I never knew that.
I didn't either. And he told me that his father played until he was 45 in the Blue Gold game.
That's hilarious.
And made him stop. Listen to this part. Ara Parsegan made him stop. He made the former players stop playing in the game because they were injuring the current players.
Yeah, and it's a 43-year-old guy with like 4 kids and a wife and in a minivan, and he's out there cracking heads. I love that.
Yeah, they pull up in the station wagon.
Yeah. Hold on, honey. Hold on, honey. I need to go beat these 19-year-olds real quick.
Let me kick a few butts around this field here, and
that's beautiful.
And the current players were getting hurt, so Ara said no more. And he told me Leon actually got his feelings hurt. Like, why Why won't he let me play? And
Yeah.
but I never knew.
But
that
it's
was
like,
the thing. I never
but
knew
but
that
it just
happened.
shows you the competitive nature of those guys that get to that level in this sport, and that competitive juice never goes away. I love that. I don't know,
Those
Jack.
guys
That
can-
it's
Those guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. You go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. You're on a
I
roll.
was just gonna, I was just going to say those guys. They didn't lose a game. People talk dynasties and all of that. Yeah. Those guys did not lose a game for 4 years.
Yep.
They tied once, 0-0, but they didn't lose a game. And I've heard, I can't.
That one
confirm, but I've
tie,
heard-
that one tie must have felt like the end of the world too. You know what I mean? Like a tie. What do you
It was
mean? A
I'm sure it was
tie?
devastating. I heard that they never even trailed in a game.
No, I heard
I
that
don't know
too.
if that's true.
No. I heard that they
Yeah.
went 3 full years after the war where not only did they not lose a game, but they were never losing in a single game at any point in 3 years.
So and I'm not here to talk. Well, I wanted to tell you about the blue gold, game, but their offensive coordinator at the time was a guy named Bob McBride, and I actually met Bob McBride later in years, and his son is a great friend of mine, Tim McBride, there in South Bend, and Bob had been off to World War II and been injured, had been captured by the Germans, had been, starved, beaten, broken his bones and everything. He came back, and in April he re-enrolled, or went back to Notre Dame, and they told him you'll never walk again. That was in April, and in September he was starting for Notre Dame offensive line.
Yeah.
He ended up becoming the offensive coordinator. By the way, that guy, he played in the college all-star game, and they beat the Chicago Bears.
That's
So,
funny to
he was
think
some
about.
tough-
That's so wild to think about.
These were some tough guys.
Yeah.
He's the guy, as you remember, and I know you told the story on the air, but he's the guy who would get the as offensive line coach, he would get the linemen and take
Barn
them into a
brawls.
barn
Barn brawls.
and just say one of us is going to walk out of here.
Yeah.
Who's going to be?
Yeah.
Blood. There'd be blood. There'd be spitting teeth and everything else. But that's how tough they were. Anyway, looking forward to seeing you and all the guys up at the Blue Gold game. I think it's going to be a great time. This season, I feel so good. I just tell you what, don't get me started on Brian Kelly, okay? Because I feel so good that he's not the coach. And people say, well, Freeman lost a couple of games he shouldn't have lost. They were bad. Okay. We were rebooting the software, and sometimes things happen. Things happen behind the scenes that we're not aware of. And first time he's been a coach.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great one. I think that the team's going to. I was just up there a few weeks ago, and I tell you what, around the team, it just seems like a different place. It just seems like a different atmosphere around the players, around the team, around the coaches, the administration, even.
Yeah.
So they love.
Yeah. Yeah.
They love.
It's a different vibe.
And
It's a different vibe. Jack, when I
different
came
vibe.
last year, when I went to the blue and gold game last year, which would have been Freeman's first real go around, I felt it right away.
Yeah.
I felt it right away. The energy was different. The vibe was different. It was more welcoming. It was more open. It was more be yourself, but know that we're all pulling from the same direction. Bringing back the old players, inviting those old guys back to be a part of the group. It was just a much healthier vibe in my estimation, but nobody's going to care about that unless it correlates to wins, a lot of wins. And so,
it's got to be about winning.
Yep. And so, but
And I think it will be.
Yeah.
Just based on, I don't know what, based on nothing, but also just based on experience of just, being around the players and around teams.
Hey,
for a long
can
time.
I ask you
I just
something?
think that they can do it.
Let me ask you
Yes,
this.
sir.
You being the Notre Dame historian that you are, and I appreciate your friendship for that reason, among many others. Where would you rate this Notre Dame schedule with the big three on the schedule 2 years in a row, 3 really strong programs, 3 different parts of the country, 3 different conferences? where would you rate this scheduling these last 2 years with these big three? These last 2 years are among the toughest I remember in my 38 years. They're tough. It's a tough slate.
Yeah, this is. I think you said it right when you said if we just threw Georgia in there, we'd have everybody, because I don't know who you play in those conferences that are better than those particular teams. And without delving into it too much, I mean, just playing Navy it's a pain because you have to prepare specifically for them, which I think you've said, and I agree. It's why playing them first is better.
Just get it done. Get it over with.
Just get it done. Get it over with, and and then move on. And we've had actually some better years when we played them early or first, which we did in 2012.
Well, you know why I like that? I like that because preparing for that weird offense is unique, and you have to do different things and prep for it over time. Having it in the middle of the year messes with that because, like, it's not a normal game week prep. You need to install different things and work on it over weeks and build on that. And if you have them first, it makes sense because you have summer and you could do that, and it leads right into it. And then you beat the hell out of them, leave them in Dublin, and then come back.
Yeah, now their coach, they have a new coach coming in, right? So
are
they going to be doing the same Navy stuff as
Jack? Wouldn't it be amazing?
Actually try to play like a real football.
I was going to say, what if Navy, Coach Ken's out? What if Navy comes in and they run like this pass happy offense all over and nobody's expecting it?
Yeah.
But they don't have the bodies. Like, they're not going to have the talent to be able to do that. And so Notre Dame just needs to run them over. Run them over.
Yeah, we need to just dominate them. And then you're right. No, this schedule, I think, is among the toughest that I can remember. I mean, I guess we. And I say we as if I'm on the team. I'm not on the team, obviously, but we as the Notre Dame fans, we've had maybe tougher schedules. I don't know. I mean, I know
and back to back too. But the other thing is, it's back to back years with the same two. You could have in the last 15 years, you could have 1 year where you have your brand names, and then one other team you're not expecting rises and is very good. But to have this much established good in back-to-back years, it's very tough on Freeman. Yeah. But I'm hoping this gives Freeman some scar tissue, some battle wounds. So when he emerges on the backside of it and the schedules lighten up, he's been through these wars, and then he's in better position to navigate anything else that comes our way in the new playoff era.
Yeah, and when does that start? Is it
24? It's the year after next, and I can't believe it. That just seems fast, but that's when it is.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think your previous caller was Adam, who was talking about scheduling and a lot of people, and I understand this. They want these premier games, and so they want. I remember back when Lou Holtz would play, Miami. USC, and it would be like this gauntlet. And if you look at the schedule after, he would have beaten the number 1 team, the number 2 team, the number 3 team, and going down the line. And but and those are. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that want to play, Georgia, Alabama, USC, Michigan, Ohio State every year. But honestly, you can't do that if you want to, go undefeated, or if you want to win most of your games. Just physically, it's very difficult to do that because those teams are really good and they will beat you up.
Yeah.
It would almost be as punishing as having to play against Leon Hart in the blue gold game.
Yeah. Yeah. As a 48-year-old.
Yeah. He beat you silly.
Yeah.
So made him stop.
Jack, let me ask you this. You this. You're going to be at Blue and Gold. We're going to meet up. I'm glad you're coming into town. Yeah. It's good for the soul. You've had a lot going on. It'll be good for us to get back on campus and get regrounded and connected. What are you looking for in Blue and Gold? What's going to make you leave Blue and Gold, heading home and going, you know what, man? This was a great way to end the spring, and now all summer, I feel pretty good about where we're going to start in August. What does that need to look like for you to feel that way?
Well, a few things. One is, I think if I can determine, and it's, from sitting in the stands, and I can usually tell this. I mean, I think most people can. If I can watch this and determine that the quarterback can actually see over the line of scrimmage, that would make me feel good.
It's a low bar, my friend. It's a low bar we have to clear here. No, wait. I got a lower bar. I got a lower bar to clear. Can every quarterback playing in the game make it down the stairs to the game?
Can he make it?
It's a big question I have. I just want to make sure everybody can make it down the stairs to even play in the practice game this year. It'd be nice.
There's a whole bunch of steps. When I was there a few weeks ago, a month ago, there was one of the coaches took us around and was showing it. I had a friend who was in town and wanted to see about maybe playing in Notre Dame one day, and so he took us through the locker room and took us out, and he was talking about when they go down the steps, and we've been down there many times. Like you hit the sign at the top, and then people hit. You're supposed to tap that sign at the bottom to play like a champion. Which I will just say, for the record, has a pipe in front of it, and I pointed that out to the coach too, and he said, "Yeah, what the hell is that pipe doing up there?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "It wasn't there, but we need to move it." He said, "I think we do." So I got him worried about the pipe now, which is my goal. But he said sometimes the players forget to tap to tap the sign at the top of the stairs, and a few of them have actually fallen down the steps, on the way to the play like a champion sign.
Oh, man.
If you fall down the steps, you're probably not going to play like a champion.
Yeah. It's just rough, man. It's rough.
It's rough. When inanimate objects can, do stuff to you, then what happens when an animate player, somebody who actually, can move and think is trying to do something to you.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I feel very confident that the offense is going to take a step forward. I need the defense to be able to hold their own. They don't need to be the 85 Bears. They don't even need to be the 2012 Notre Dame giving up 9.8 points a game. I don't need them to be either of those, but they need to be good enough that they're never the reason I come on a post-game show and say they're why we lost today. That's all I ask of them, is to be that solid, because I believe the offense is about to take off. I just need that defense to just be good enough.
They need to be. I mean, and the weird thing is, for something like a blue road game, is that it's hard to tell anything really, because it's just a glorified practice.
It is, and it's mixed up, and it's like mixed with the first string and the second string, and then if the offense does good, I'm going, does this mean our defense is bad? And if the defense does good, then I go, does this mean the offense is bad? And then if it's equally matched, I think nobody's any good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so very depressed. And then they had this weird scoring. This is to kind of, make it even more confusing. You used to have this wave scoring, like if you get the first down, you get 2.5.
Only the genius of Brian Kelly could come up with a scoring system for football that looks nothing like football and makes no sense. Imagine that.
Well, Brian, he coached for. He was he's been a head coach for 37 or 42 years or something. Whatever it is, he keeps talking about it. Don't, like I say, I asked you, I begged you not to get me started on Brian Kelly.
I'm not trying to do it,
but no. You threw in the thing about the pipe, though, or what was that me?
No, you since the day I met you like 8 years ago, you've hated that pipe sitting there at the entrance, and you're saying this is Notre Dame, it's Rockney's house. And you got a poop pipe angling right in front of the sign we're supposed to hit. Get that poop pipe out of here.
Okay, now that you brought it up, I mean, that pipe was not there in 1988. And I have a photograph of that sign of that play like a champ and all that.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Fire the plumber. Fire the plumber.
They did it. They did that. Bob Davey renovation, whatever it was, 97, 90, whatever it was. And they did that. And for some reason, they decided, let's put a poop pipe. And other people tell me it's not a poop pipe.
It's a poop pipe to
some other
me.
type of pipe.
It's a poop pipe to me.
It's a poop pipe because, I have an engineering degree. I've just decided it's a poop pipe. You know, that's what I'm calling it. But it wasn't there, and now it's there. And it's been there for 30, I don't know, however many years. And I'm just looking up the championships. I don't see a whole lot of them since then.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no need for that thing to be there. They did the $385 billion renovation of the stadium.
But they left the pipe.
You know, recently.
They left the pipe.
They left that pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it that important that there be a commode right on top of that sign?
Yeah.
Is it that important they couldn't move that thing over another foot? So anyway.
I don't know, but Jack, this
well.
is going to be fun. It's going to be healthy to get.
It'll be fun.
I haven't been on campus since Clemson. It's going to be good. It's good for the soul. Hopefully the weather's pleasant.
It is.
But we're going to have a good group. We're going to have a big fun group. We're going to have food and everything. Everybody's welcome. And the family wants to see you. It'll be a good time, my friend. So I really appreciate you calling.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to getting back home to Notre Dame.
Yep. Beautiful. Well, I will text you some details, Jack, and then we'll see you in 2 weekends.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Jack.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling. Oh, Jack. He's a famous Notre Dame alum. All right, folks, that's going to be it. There's a bunch more calls. We're going on almost 3 hours, 2:40. We're going at 2:45 now. I got some things I got to do, so I'm going to have to call it now. I feel bad doing that with the bank of calls, but 2 hours and 45 minutes, I mean, it just kind of adds up. I'll post a video tomorrow, and then Wednesday we're going to go live. I'll figure it out, whether it's going to be morning or evening, depending on what else I have going on. The off season's for playing with things. I'm going to try different timing, different schedules, whatever, and we'll see what works. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Those that donated, I appreciate it. I don't think I've ever gone live on a Monday night before, so thank you for joining me. You know, I know it's weird with people scheduling in their free time. So anybody who spends their free time with me, I will be indebted to you forever. So thank you for making this fun. Video tomorrow morning. We're going live Wednesday. And the video tomorrow morning is very interesting topic, by the way. And then we'll go live Wednesday at some point. I'll put something out letting you know what time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.